I think that ginger musician's going to be on next week. I think that makes the most sense.
Well, we'll see how current Joe runs. I'm going to say George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. And I'm going to try and wish that into existence.
Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. This week, we're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernon's. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, Kamar, do we have any new patrons?
How sweet it is to be loved by you, Patreons. This is my favorite time of the week where we get to acknowledge new and old Patreons alike. Like and subscribe. Hit that
There's no ad in
notifications button.
subscribe.
Well, he also said liken. Liken.
He's just throwing N's in every word.
Like and subscribe.
Post Joes, did this not age well? Just true support for the show, Patreon, and number one Patreon in the
You
world.
might be trash.
This week, a big shout out to Robert Medeiros.
Robert. Bobby.
I'm
Shout
really
outs.
stoked on Robert, but the next one is amazing.
What
Oh,
up?
Simon,
What up, Bobby?
Simon, wait for this.
You're never going to guess who
I'm
joined the
ready.
Patreon.
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
A big fucking welcome to the party to Mike Baker.
What? A different Mike Baker.
No, I'm sure.
No, it's
the
got to
Mike
be
Baker.
the Mike Baker.
You're welcome aboard, Mike. We can finally get down to the bottom of the truth.
Well, if Mike Baker is now a patron,
He's paid $5 just to be like, I do have kids, you pieces of shit.
If he became a patron and then started referencing us as an intel. Next thing.
that's
see what
how
they're
the
thinking.
CIA gets their
Let's
information.
see what they're thinking north of the border.
What does Kamar think this week? Is the world flat or is it a oblong triangle?
I'm a moron.
Are you done? Is that it?
Yeah, and to all the Patreons and like, thank you so much for the support. It's unbelievable. It's been a wicked ride. We just can't wait to ride on the sunset with you guys.
Poor Mike Baker, eh? Like, guy just has a normal name. You know, you probably know a million Mike Bakers. And then one fucking guy ruins it for everyone.
September sweeps, and shout out to Mike Baker. Your new news show is starting. Okay, I guess on Monday. Just the facts with Mike Baker.
Maybe that's where you can go to get. Oh my god, I should.
Fuck you.
Fuck
I gotta put that. I gotta make that. I gotta make a
you.
button with Dave saying that.
Absolutely.
Kamar, how was your week?
Oh, I had a great week. This week, Mr. Beast put out a video,
He does that most weeks, yeah.
but it was right up Simon's alley because it was kick a field goal for Super Bowl tickets. And they started at 10 yards, 3 guys, 1 guy misses. Then they went to 20 yards, 1 guy missed, the other guy got through. They didn't even get to 30 yards.
Simon, you would have fucking dominated. You would have had Super Bowl tickets.
But he also used this video to announce that YouTube has Sunday Ticket.
Okay.
And he said he had put QR codes in past videos. If you scan them, you could win Sunday Ticket.
Fuck, did you do it?
I tried a lot. I didn't find them. But I'm hoping it's not available in Canada. And so the whole thing was in vain. Because
I should check that out.
I watched a lot of Mr. B's videos.
Because we're going to get Sunday Ticket. What the hell's this guy up to? Oh, terrible.
So, but isn't that ingenious?
Yeah.
Putting it, and then people have to go back to other. I tried to scrub it. I did a lot of things.
It's genius. It's so genius.
Well, KSI did this thing for a while where he would put an Amazon code in his video, and it would be like to redeem a $500 card.
And just if you notice it, if you know, you know.
But he was saying he was like people were just using bots. So like the second he would drop a video, someone with a bot would watch the video. It would pick up the code and then redeem it.
Smarter people than me.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday, or Wednesday, I went through the finals of the comedy
Congrats,
competition.
man.
So
Congrats. That's huge.
one
Way to
more
go.
accolade
Way
on my
to go.
road towards mediocrity.
So did Emmett come second, third? They don't tell you?
I believe he came second. Yeah.
That sucks for him. but good for you. There can only be one winner.
There can only be one. And the
Might as well be
finals
someone on
are
our
this
team.
Thursday during the season opener.
How
I'm
many people are
conflicted.
in the finals?
8.
That's the thing. I'm torn. I want to go see him perform, but the NFL season opener is also Thursday. I was actually hoping you would come here and we would live stream the game, but
I'm so excited.
No
I can't
bueno.
hide it that this
yeah, you look like you can't hide it.
starting football. I know you're over the moon. He was so over the moon. He was listening to music today.
I don't buy that, but
Swear to God, he was.
he
jamming
was like,
away.
"Oh wait, so I'm getting Kamar. I should
I'm
turn
not
on
sure
some Bob
because I don't
Marley."
think it was playing when I got in the
Yeah.
car, but soon after
He's like, "We are
party.
jamming."
You guys are idiots.
So yeah, it was a really
Such
good week
fucking
of
idiots.
Mr. Beast and comedy, and
You're a jack of all trades, Simon. How was your week?
My week was just fine, Matt. Thanks. Actually, sorry. Just hold on 1 second.
Oh my god, this guy's such a dipshit. Won't work with the headphones, pal. This is great for an audio podcast. Simon's unibombering up. He's put on his sunglasses
I
and
think
his
this
fucking.
really gets under Kamar's skin, which I like. And
oh, it just makes you look really smart.
I
You
don't
like Ted
think, I
Kaczynski.
don't think I like that at all.
Looks like Kamar won that round.
Or lace.
I don't think I like that.
The
at all.
Unabomber.
No, my week was fine, Matt. Thanks. Been doing some painting, which sucks.
Oh, I thought that's so funny because at first I was like, nice. It's good that you're doing art again, but you meant just painting your home.
Just painting my home. And the reason I had to do it was because my wife doesn't like being high up on a ladder. So the job was like, I felt like Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel. It was crazy. My neck is so fucking kinked up.
Why didn't you just get like a super extendo and
Because, Matt, it's
a painter?
interlock wood. So you have to get in between with the brush. It is so fucking annoying. The whole thing was so. I had to paint the same thing like 14 times.
And from a
It
ladder
was-
going with that
yeah,
sucks.
it was just.
for someone in great shape.
I had a pretty good system going. Like, you just figure it out and then you start moving, but it still took for. It was like 100 fucking little
Oh, that's so
strips.
tedious.
It was so tedious.
I would hate doing that.
Yeah, he would have hated it. I almost had him,
Thank you.
but getting him out there was the issue. I was hoping he'd have a scooter. He could scooter out to Dunrobin. That
Whoa.
would have been fucking hilarious.
It wasn't that mean.
My week was fine. Didn't do
How
much.
was your week, Matt?
It's fine. Whatever.
Just getting accustomed to the new digs.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
We called so many episodes. I'm sorry to intrude on your week.
Well, let's get to it. We did. You guys knocked it out of the park.
We killed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Simon and I both, if you're a patron on the post show, we usually guess who's going to be on the next week. And I guessed Oliver Anthony and Simon guessed George Knapp. And
In all fairness, I've been calling for that for something like a month and a half, 2 months now.
so how about this?
Broken clock
Let's
is
say
right.
instead of calling it, you willed it into
I willed it
existence.
into
That's more
existence.
probably.
But you had no. You saw a photo of Jeremy because I'm
No,
sure you follow
I
him in Austin.
I was as surprised as anybody. I don't follow them on social media.
Of course you don't.
Come on.
Do you want to go over the guest list, Kamar, so that we can do what we do here?
Oh, man. Thanks for asking. We start off the week with 2026 Peter Berg. He's like a character director guy.
What do you mean?
You
character?
just seen him throughout, but like, what does he do?
Well, he
He
acted.
was in
Acts,
yeah.
directs, like, but just a guy. Followed
just
by
a guy.
2027, the most misunderstood man in America, Oliver Anthony.
I would have thought you would have thought Trump was the most misunderstood man in America, but that's fine. That's
Well, I
fair.
think a lot of people understand him. 2028, George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. And finally, Sunday drop, 2029.
Saturday drop.
Saturday drop, my bad. 2029, Bill Maher.
Bill, mommy.
I guess we got to rate the week.
1 hour. That was just fucking peculiar. I
Hour
was
20.
thinking there was going to be like a blow up or something.
Well, he went right before his show's about to start.
Well, who organizes some shit like that? It's stupid.
Well, first of all, the guy put his feet up on the table. I'm sure he just showed up.
Yeah, Joe-
at the fucking
No,
studio.
he said they reached out to. I
Invited.
mean,
When
we
you're
should
invited,
be
you-
saving this for.
Well, we will. We'll
the
rate the
epi-
week, though,
for
as
the
we
episode.
are known to do.
It'd be tough to rate this one for you, Simon, because
Yeah,
we
this
got a
is-
5 in there. Well, you know, you don't give 5, so we got like a 4.84.
And then a whole bunch of fucking shit.
Well, no, you liked Berg, So this week's going to be a real dicey one for you. I'm going to give this week. That's tough. That's tough. I don't know. My math is tough on this one. I'm going to go with the 3.
It was no laughs the whole week. I'm going to give it 2.7. It was not a feel-good week at all.
I'm going to give it a 3.
You just did math?
Yep,
Actual wow.
I did actual math.
So Simon and I agree for once. Wow. Okay. Well, there we go. Let's start with
2/3 of an agreement.
I feel like if I did math more often, Matt, we'd probably agree more.
yeah. I've been saying that for 4 years now, but whatever.
Without further ado, 2028, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp.
Also, shout out to Danny Boy. It's his birthday, or it was his birthday yesterday.
Oh, instead of writing happy birthday, I wrote the Bruins suck shit. Is that so much better than happy birthday?
It is, yeah.
It was Dan's birthday?
Yesterday, yeah.
You call yourself a friend.
You know what? I feel like he didn't wish me a happy birthday. So
You feel like that.
I'm just, well, let me check my notes, Matt,
Jeremy Corbell,
because I wrote
George
them all
Knapp.
down.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's fucking do this.
Yeah, you've been
floor
waiting
is
for this
yours.
for, yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I'll let you. I mean, we've been waiting for this for a long time, just before you start. And
I mean, waiting, I don't,
I've been waiting because Joe has been teetering,
yeah.
believes, doesn't believe, doesn't believe, and has the perfect people to come on, and just took a long time to get them. But now that I think about it, they might have been waiting because this whole
May I ask you why they're the perfect people?
apparently, from what they've been saying, and they could be lying, but I don't know why they would. They've been working pretty closely in this whole with the government, not working for them, but to facilitate these guys coming on and talking and kind of looking out for the interview people. But
Well, they were at the hearing.
they seem to have their fingers in
the
all
pulse.
sorts of pies. Yeah. And I listened to their podcast and they seem pretty
Who goes around fingering pies?
fucking pies. Is that
sure.
better?
They got their dicks in a bunch of
They got their
pies.
dicks in a bunch of pies. I didn't realize it was the foreplay that bothered you. That's like, fuck fingering. Just fuck that pie. Yeah. So anyways, Kamar, the floor is back to you.
So they start off saying, or questioning the reason for suppression or not letting people know what they know, and it's society collapsing. And like it would have to be a massive ship thing floating over someplace and not doing anything. So each day, like what's going on, and leaders, pardon me, going around saying, should we attack?
That would be fucking weird, right? If they
That-
just sat there and didn't do anything.
What's happening right
Well,
now?
if you look back to apparently the whole War of the Worlds was like a test to see how we would react. And in the limited amount of,
We lost it.
yeah, people started fucking jumping out windows and shit. Who knows if that's true? I mean, I imagine that a lot of the history we hear about is, fugaz, but who knows? More to the point, like, you know how we always say, well, if you found out it was a simulation or you found out that aliens existed, it's not going to change the way you live your normal life. You still got to go to work on Monday and whatever, feed your family, all that stuff. That's a rational person's point of view. How many people are just bordering on like the brink of just being rational to begin with, and this is like, well, fuck it, because that's your gut reaction, right? Is like, well, if there are aliens or if we live in a simulation or if anything is that groundbreaking, like, fuck it, let's just fucking start looting.
Could you imagine how your mother would react?
I know exactly how my mother would react.
She'd be just happy for you.
She wouldn't
You were
give
right
a,
along,
she wouldn't give a fuck. She wouldn't give a fuck.
I feel like my mother would be like, "Oh, come on, the aliens." I know.
Yeah. Like, unless the aliens actually came down and like stopped her from being able to watch murder documentaries, like, I don't think she would care, That would really, like, when they start fucking with like the streaming platforms, that's where my mom draws the line.
The aliens are like, no more true crime.
They're just pulling people off the street and randomly fucking them up the ass, but it's not until like her Crave subscription gets.
But that builds the hope that there is knowledge, evidence, crafts, human beings, more knowledge, right? It's being withheld, and we can say that's all right because you're preventing society from collapsing.
Or
that's how we justify you not telling us.
They're holding it back, and it could be something like free energy that would change everybody's lives. But the reason they don't release it is not because they're trying to save you, but because they're trying to keep things like big oil and pharmaceutical companies. You know what I'm saying? What if the aliens have like a fucking wand that just makes everybody well again?
So George, oh sorry.
I was just going to say though, but if let's say someone had the ability to give you free energy right now, would they not just give you that energy and disguise it as something else and charge you the same amount?
Yeah, if we didn't know they had it, for sure.
That's like if someone had the Tesla coil.
No, I'm saying though, if the aliens come down,
yeah,
like why they would just give it to everyone. Presumably, they're not going to like give it to the government to dole out. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be great? They'd just go to Africa and give it to them.
And then Africa becomes like this
superpower.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. They're like, this has been unbalanced for a long time.
Yeah, you know that we dropped you guys off here, right? This was the place.
Oh, that's interesting. But that's not even true. I don't think that's even true. No. But I'm saying like that's just another like misnomer. I think that we all came from Africa. I think people like came from everywhere.
No, I think they believe that we all came from Africa. Started there.
I don't know if that's necessarily like the going thinking anymore among the enlightened, but I could be wrong.
Says the Unabomber over here.
I could be wrong.
George Knapp is sure that he knows the military's level of technology.
He thinks he has enough in the government.
He knows enough that we have nothing like that, and I just don't believe that.
You don't believe that he knows enough? That's what I'm asking. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I mean, listen, that may be true, Kamar. There may be pockets of the government that even George Knapp isn't. I think what he's saying is, for the most part, he probably has like a pretty good idea of where we're at, meaning we don't have anti-gravity spaceships out there. But you're probably right. But
he seemed very sure.
I think because he has enough like people inside the government that he gets information from that.
But it would be maybe defense contractors that would know more.
Yeah, and I don't know why he would be so sure of that. Just like there could be such a secret group of people working that it could even have like zero to do with the government. It could be a guy like Elon Musk parading as a public servant or a public citizen, you know?
Yeah.
Then
Jeremy said that there was a case of Russian jets being shot. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, just one thing. Like, wouldn't that, if you're the government and you want to do like illegal type, not illegal, but like things that aren't, if you wanted to do some other shit, some other projects, you would just invent a character, make him a billionaire, run all your like secret ops through this guy because nobody is like checking his T's and crossing his I's, you know? And
yeah, well, it's a publicly traded company, so there is.
I know, but like nobody's telling Elon you can't spend as much as you want on Mars research. Sure. You can't. I don't know. It's just a thought. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's a good listen. Anything is possible, Simon.
Well, and now that we know just like how duplicitous the government really is, I just
either that or incompetent.
I don't think it's incompetent.
So he said there was a story about Russian jets actually being shot down by UFO. And I think that's where everything falls apart, that there's no shared intel. We know this. Like, they don't know what Russia knows or China knows.
But again, if you were Russia and you shot down a UFO and you had it to back engineer, why on fuck would you tell the US? If you guys really are enemies.
Yeah, you would never tell them.
You would never tell them. You would try and extract as much information as possible.
So you think discovering?
That's not what he said. He said they shot down a Russian jet. So they have nothing to.
That's a different. I understand. I'm just saying sharing of information makes zero sense at this point. It only makes sense if they start attacking us.
Don't you comprehending that there's aliens that come here and go or whatever sort of squash geopolitical posturing and everything? Like,
I mean, unless they've been coming here for as long as people have been doing that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just part of life.
You know how there's just countries just can't get nukes, just can't figure it out. They're scientists or whatever. That's the only thing if China has a craft, if America has 2 crafts, if Russia has half a craft, and they're all been working on it around the clock.
Well, isn't that what Antarctica's about?
These guys don't even go there.
Well, Antarctica is one place where kind of everybody agrees to those rules. So maybe that is.
No, well, my point is that's the idea, is that they all agree and then they all go work there on this joint project. Like the greatest and best minds will go down here. We'll try to reverse engineer this stuff so that maybe we can.
Yeah. And the reason that it's shared, I imagine, is because there is a giant UFO underneath the ice being preserved perfectly there. And then everybody can go and like work on it. It's like the kind of like the space station, air quotes.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Well, just put in perspective, I was watching a thing on how Pirelli tires are made. F1 weekend, and Pirelli has like 100 scientists that just work there on tires.
If the aliens, Kamar, sorry, not about your tires, but if the aliens were to come down and like attack a bunch of NATO countries, I think you would start seeing a lot more people working together, and maybe then countries who aren't in the coalition would like, they need what did Reagan say? We need a common foe to bring us all together.
But I mean, if they just came down and started attacking us, that'd probably be too late by then. I honestly don't believe there's any way it's the physical, anything we imagine what traveling in, a craft, and it just doesn't, I don't believe it. It's something else. Maybe it's pure energy that's holding a bunch of liquid metal together that looks like a ship or something. But.
Well, the whole, like one of the theories in physics is that everything is just particles until you look at them and then they gain form. So maybe it's just something like that. And maybe that's why people see so many different things, because like we all see a variation on the same thing because we've been taught that they should look like flying saucers or whatever. Now it's more like a Tic Tac that everybody recognizes, so more people see that. And maybe because it's just energy until you look at it and then it gains that physical form.
I guess the problem is this. Let's say they found a craft somewhere at some point and they've been back engineering it for, I don't know, 50, 100 years. You put the number on. I don't give a fuck. Couldn't you then say that from that point on, there is the potential that there has been no actual, like alien craft, and it's just them testing what they've been back engineering?
I mean, that is possible. It's an awful lot of sightings over the years and an awful lot of different crafts they must be working on then.
Well, that makes a ton of sense too, that they would be working on all sorts of different shapes, crafts.
No, but you're talking about like there's only like 30 sightings a year.
No, there can be thousands.
Well, that they're testing it that much, I don't know. That doesn't seem.
You don't think the military is constantly testing their gear? Always?
Well, no, that would only be over their military bases then. They don't usually just fly that shit into...
Yeah, but you're saying they don't
You're talking
usually...
about civilian sightings versus military sightings?
Yeah, you're only talking about military sightings.
No, I'm talking about all of them, even civilian sightings. Like,
no, it's way too many. It's way too many.
But though, because it could be anything. Those could be a drone. Those
could be anything. You're absolutely right. Who knows? You want to know something interesting? Flying saucers. Mm-hmm. The very first guy to coin that thing. It was in like a article in the newspaper because back then that's how everybody got their information out. I forget the guy's name. He didn't even say it looked like a saucer.
Okay.
He was describing the way it flew, and it looked like a saucer bouncing across the water. So the guy, whoever wrote the article, made flying saucer, and that's what everybody said. So
So it's
if
like a
somebody,
skipping stone, you mean?
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
If somebody sees a typical flying saucer, it's probably fake. And the ones who see something totally different is, unless it is what I said, that it's just gaining shape depending on what it is. But anywho, again, it could be totally different things. Some could do that. Some could be like that jellyfish one that's a totally organic. Like, did you guys see Nope?
Yeah.
Something just like that. But that's been described many times, this whole jellyfish. I think they talk about it
they
in
do
this
talk about it
episode.
in this, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Kumar. My bad.
So obviously the man of the moment is David Grush, who they met at a Star Trek convention. Because
That's where they
Jeremy's
decided to
friends
meet.
with Gene Roddenberry's kid. It's just a weird. It's just like, is Jeremy Corbell Knapp on the autograph circuit?
Yeah, are they on the Comic-Con tour? Because that kind of stinks.
Can you confirm or deny?
I
that?
mean, they might be for their podcast,
It would make
but I don't
sense.
think maybe. I think they met him there, Kumar. He agreed to do a speech because he was Gene Roddenberry's son's friend.
The way
that
George
was
Knapp,
a good
Trek,
the
place
way
real
George
space.
Knapp,
for them
listen,
to
the way
meet.
George Knapp said it was a bit suspect too. He was like, "We met at a Star Trek convention because who doesn't like Star Trek?" And I was like, "Okay."
people who are really looking for UFOs. So David Grush talked to 40 witnesses and found a ton of shit, none of which he can talk about. But Jeremy said the claim is credible and urgent. And for some reason, when you say credible and urgent, that means important. And
Yeah.
that's what Jeremy's now living off of right now.
I just still find it so ridiculous that we live in this world. Like, I was watching Congress drill, what's her name from Twitter? I was rewatching it.
The president, Twitter, or whoever.
Remember what her
the girl that was on Rogan
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Tim
yeah.
Pool.
Yeah. And they're like the Congress people are so angry at her. They're so aggressive. They're like, did the FBI or the U.S. government ever contact you? And I'm like, it's you guys. Like, you act like you're not on the same team. Yeah, like, what is happening here? So it's the same thing when it's like, I'm blowing the whistle, but I can't name names because I don't want to go to jail, which I get. I understand that. He's not trying to fucking be Edward Snowden, but
The people who make up, I'm sorry to interrupt, the people who make up those like congressional whistleblower things,
Committees.
those are like, you're a congressperson or a senator and you have interest in what they're talking about and you go
I
because you
understand.
want to, it's not, that's where like at least the lower levels of government can get in on some of this shit. Like, I get what you're saying, but that's the only way you can do it.
I get it, but what I'm saying more is this. It's like, okay, you're angry at this businesswoman because the people that you work with and for went to her and said, we're doing this and you don't have a choice.
Yeah, they're
It's just so
breaking the
weird to
law.
me. I get it.
This is there so that these people can be punished theoretically.
But no one is. And they're trying to, and then it's so ironic to me that they were so aggressive towards her. Yet I'm like, go down the hall, ask someone that really knows. Like, it's just so weird. Anyway, keep going. George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell.
And our new man is Dave Grush.
But let me ask
who
you,
they're
Simon,
sort of representing.
if this Grush guy goes into a skiff and says all the fucking shit, we're never going to find out.
well, we're never going to find out from him. No, we would have to find out in some different way.
And that's never going to happen, right? So this whole thing is a facade in a way.
I mean, maybe and maybe not. Maybe this opens the door for all sorts of whistleblowers to come out, and then the government doesn't have any choice but to start releasing some legitimate information. Maybe they have to change like their whole. Maybe they have to come out and say, "Look," the president has to come out and say, "Look."
We know historically that doesn't happen.
It's never gotten this far before, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, but that just leads me to more to what Joe's saying. Like, it all seems like
Maybe.
like smoke and mirrors. Like, hey, over here.
Maybe, or maybe just like in other things, the government has had it having their hand pushed. They have to respond. Right now, we're at the point where we're going to wait for their response, I guess. I don't know. Knowing them, they'll fuck it up. And maybe that's good for people trying to get information, you know, if they're like trying to cover their tracks and shit. I don't know, man. Who knows?
I think it just contradicts us all the way down. Because with Grush, the knock against him is he suffers from PTSD and was a suicidal drunk prior to doing this.
Again, after that had happened, he was cleared with clearance to see things. Like the government had faith in him. So,
and they contend that other people hired Grush. Like it's not like he just, so other people want to know.
Other people
wonder if there's
hired
answers out
Grush.
there.
Well, yeah, the head of
By the UAP task
whatever
force.
it was, ATIP or whatever, hired Grush. to
Then
do
they say
that.
Grush is being used as an example for people not to get too close or reveal anything. The mudslinging, that is.
I mean, like you don't have to look a lot farther than like Julian Assange and what's his
Snowden.
name to look at the mudslinging. You know what I mean? Like those guys, we don't have a right to. That's not us. It's not us. But the American people don't have a right to know that
Edward Snowden's an American hero.
that they were being watched by their own government every day, every hour of every day. Like, fuck you. And you
Fuck
chase that
you.
guy off.
Fuck
and,
you.
And instead of people being like, fuck you to the government, they're like, yay, we should keep this guy in Russia. None of it makes any sense. So the fact that this guy can stay in America, I guess, is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now, despite David Grush asking questions, they contend that the people who know are not for disclosure. This allows for speculation. Some thoughts are aliens made us.
Scary.
Is that scary, or is it just like, oh,
Again, some people are going to look at that like, no big deal. What's the difference? Aliens, God, I got to live my life. And some people are going to look at that like, nothing matters anymore. I'm going to go out and shoot everybody. So
we are an
I disagree with that.
We are an agricultural product, and they are harvesting our souls.
that's even worse.
So when you die, you're not dying.
That's on like some
You're getting
Scientology shit,
called out.
though.
That's even worse.
But the more interesting life you live, the more valuable a soul you are. What if you just become a soul slave?
Yeah,
Best
you really
soul
don't
wins.
want to die. Best soul
I think the
wins.
whole idea is that you forget everything the next time around. Right?
An interesting one, because I've always said they would be one of the powers that be suppressing aliens is they think aliens made religion as a recipe book for us to have good souls when we come.
Clean souls, yeah. That would totally make sense.
But why wasn't it around from the beginning then?
The demons one is the scariest.
We're talking about aliens here, Matt.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Kamar?
Sorry?
The demons.
Demons.
Is the
Well,
scariest.
because I heard in another podcast that demons is not even a bad word.
Really?
It's Greek or something. Like it's become a bad word or negative connotation, but it wasn't. It was like an angel or a spirit or something. George says also you cannot tell your friends without telling your enemies. So there's always a lot of unknown when you're talking about this. Because he's saying that's another reason the government or the military won't disclose this because they don't want China to know. But I don't. That doesn't. You'd think they'd want to use it like they lied about nukes or space race or whatever. You know, whenever they have competitions like
I've
that.
been listening to a lot of podcasts lately about structures on Mars, and perhaps there have been a civilization up there, and they're like trying to keep that from people knowing about for whatever reason.
Fuck podcasts are you listening
I
to?
just-
that was tinfoil hat, obviously.
No, it's not. I just. Anyways, yeah, go on, Kamar.
In the report,
Hold on, wait. Let's just 1 sec. Did you happen to see the footage of India landing on the moon?
No,
You didn't.
no, I did not.
No way.
India's on the moon.
No way we went in 1969.
Dark side.
Zero chance.
oh wow,
Oh, well,
I don't
that's
even- I don't
welcome
even-
to the
I
club.
don't even
No.
know
Welcome
you.
to the
Eddie.
club.
No way.
Meanwhile, China also landed on the moon.
Matt.
This was before India.
Just saying,
And
listen, The video I saw, I'm like, it's 2023, and if that's the best they could live stream a video right now, then there's just absolutely zero, and I mean fucking zero shot that in 1969 with less power than my iPhone.
That was one of my points in the Patreon moon debate.
Listen, Kamar, I told you you are our Eric Cartman.
I'm just not the
No matter how obnoxious
Yes,
your takes might be, they're going to be accurate.
I understand. He said the term non-human intelligence was used 26 times in the report. And now that's a carrot we could all get behind. I don't know what that means. It could be dogs. Like, I don't know.
It could be dogs. It could be dolphins. It could be mice, like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
And now the option, crash is like the weirdest one, right?
What does that mean?
Well, you just think it's pretty crazy technology. It just doesn't like break down and crash.
It could be something like they got hit by lightning. They didn't even know that lightning happened on it. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like some natural
I do like what he's
thing.
saying, though. It's like, I can travel light speed across universes.
Maybe the
But
gravity changes everything.
Some lightning on Earth took the ship down.
And where are you going to find parts?
No, but I mean, that's like, we could invent something amazing. Self-driving cars, flying cars, wherever we get to, there's still accidents. There's still...
I think the point is like, yes, there are accidents now because we're very fallible. You would assume that if you're sending something across the galaxy, that you have the technology to avoid.
Okay, I'm going to go back to
It doesn't matter. 'Cause
lightning. That's just so random.
Simon, anything you go back to won't matter to me because I'm just going to go to the fact that we would be so far advanced that whatever ship we built would be impervious to anything.
I totally disagree.
Well, you're welcome to.
You could get so far advanced that you're able to travel to a different galaxy. Mm-hmm. There's still going to be risk to traveling to that like nothing is. There's no free ride.
Well, first of all,
doesn't matter how smart you get.
Explain this to me. How would you travel through the galaxy at light speed without hitting something?
Well, they must have some sort of shield around them.
But lightning would take it down.
I'm saying maybe they got to Earth. Everything looked like this is a Nerf town. They turn off their...
and it just attracts lightning right away. I can see
It's
that.
a metal thing in the sky. It's in the middle of a storm. Who knows? First of all, we're not talking about like hundreds of thousands of downed UFOs. You're talking about like if each country had 10, maybe
That's a lot. That's a
50,
fucking ton.
50, 60. Like it's not that many.
I
Even if it's
contend
that many. And I think that's way more than it is.
You can't physically travel through space like that. Or maybe these...
No, but again,
satellites and the Hubble telescopes do, and they just sort of. But I think it's through interdimensional, like time wormhole stuff.
well, like I said, if something's 5 light years away, that's a number. I'm just
Through
throwing
dimensional,
out.
though, it's 1 second away.
No, I get it,
it's
but
the thought away.
I'm backing up your point. What I'm saying is like if you can travel at the speed of light, you have to be able to travel in a
lightning.
straight line with nothing impeding you, or else it's all over, right? And we know that space is full of shit.
Like you run into a Tesla.
That's if you're traveling at light speed.
Yeah, yeah.
No, the thing is,
As soon as you're talking about going and coming, there's
Yeah,
no
you're talking about
traveling.
bending
Yeah.
space and
Yeah.
time.
but or if you're going so fast, you phase through stuff.
Right, that too. You could totally phase through
It's
things.
just not even.
You're just ripping through planets full of people.
Yeah.
There's been life forms on them forever.
If you watch The Flash, which is garbage, you watch it though.
No.
Well, he's able to vibrate his particles so fast
That they
he can
come loose.
walk through a
That-
wall.
That makes sense. Maybe when nobody's watching you, you can just walk through walls.
Because one thing also is our rules, gravity, whatever, are just rules of this planet,
Rules.
right?
And even on this
And there's different
planet,
rules.
people bend the rules.
What do you mean, though? Gravity exists on other planets. It's just at a different force.
Law of gravity.
And again, we assume
Magnets.
that to be the case.
maybe
Matt.
magnets are opposite somewhere
We
else.
have no idea what it's like when we get to another planet. So again, all assumptions we make based on like math.
Well,
and shit.
I think we should start referring to India because they're the first people to know what it's like. No, China's up there too.
I mean, that's just an
Drone.
unmanned ship. It's nothing.
that's what
What's
they told
hilarious
you.
is they did it for like $65 million. There's all these soccer memes lately, like Manchester United could have landed on the moon instead of buying this asshole. That sort of
One
stuff.
player. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But you know what? The Mars rover can't score 65 goals or whatever it is.
That's true. That's true.
Bob Lazar saw something apparently, and then everything else is just what he said he saw in a report. That's
What the fuck does that mean? Say that again.
Well, Bob,
Because it was all compartmentalized. You only
Bob-
worked on what you did.
Man, you were working that one out. Compartment.
Bob did see some things, according to him. He saw
You saw element.
crashed UFOs, some that had been retrieved from ancient times. He said he saw that. He said he saw maybe bodies, although he's not sure. He definitely saw that machine, the one that reads your hands. He saw the element. So like there were plenty of things that Bob saw, according to Bob.
That's a great T-shirt.
And
Plenty of things
Bob,
that Bob saw, according to Bob.
Bob, like Alex Jones, described the gimbal movement before it was seen.
Alex Jones did?
No, just Alex said something crazy, and it was true.
Oh, I
Bob
see.
said the gimbal, the thing moves like this, and then
Yeah,
something moved like that.
He totally.
Could
He
be
also
a happy coincidence.
He also called that element, but that again, that could just have been what the government wanted him to see. So they were feeding him a little bit of truth mixed with a whole shit ton of
well,
lies.
that negates what Jeremy said about Bob being lucky about being right about a bunch of stuff. It'd be being awful lucky to be right about so many things, but if it's all fed to him, then it's no luck whatsoever. It's manipulation.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's zero luck there in that case.
The government passed a motion that it has the right to anything alien, non-human. So that makes it, well, if you are making a claim on something, then that means that must possibly exist.
Huh?
If you found, well, I don't know what happens here, but if we found a spaceship, it would be the government's. Well, if we were in America, I
Right,
guess.
you don't get
I don't
to
know,
keep the
I don't know
spaceship.
what our laws is here, but so they're making that motion, so they must exist. I mean,
Right,
these are
they're-
all things that you wouldn't do that if it
Right.
wasn't.
They-
That would be the best
they
if it
don't-
crashed on the reserve. And the First Nations were like, "You're not."
Well, I'm sure that's happened, but they don't make signs for swimming pools that say "Don't dive in the shallow end" unless somebody dove in the shallow end. You know,
Well, I mean, that's what someone draws from this.
that's how shit gets done.
Yes.
People die.
So just to back up, your assumption is that every swimming pool that has that sign, someone has
No,
No, you're
it
just saying
only
it
took
does.
one.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it does
Every
have a shallow
sign
end.
you see, Matt,
Every
is
sign you
there
see- yes, because some
somebody
dummy- yeah.
fucked up.
And
Every time
there
you
is a
see a
shallow
no
end.
U-turn sign, that's because at some point at that spot, somebody did a U-turn and got hit by a car.
George Knapp, I don't know if he's like a turbo, but it's like, yeah, the technology could be worth untold millions.
I mean, billions.
Yeah, what are you,
is
100
more
years
like
old?
it.
He did not correct himself
Yeah.
at all. He thought millions
Yeah.
was still a lot
Well,
of money. In this day
untold
and age.
millions, that could be 999,000 million, right?
shit. That's a weird.
It's
that's
just
the
a weird
weirdest
way of saying
it.
$1 billion,
Yeah.
but
Might as well put it in dollars at that point.
If
in pennies.
Yeah, lots of pennies.
if aliens did not create religion, then of course it's a threat to religion, and religion would be wanting to suppress it
Sure, yeah.
because that would really throw people for a loop.
Well,
mean, I gotta-
if we were created by aliens, that really fucks religion.
but
right
they,
in the
they
ass.
could write it off. Well,
But
actually, God made the
They've
aliens.
they've already
Yeah, that's true. They've already
the
got in
Catholic
front of
Church
that.
has
Covered their
already
ass.
said we hope there are aliens because that just proves how powerful our God is that they've created, because he didn't just create Earth. God created the whole universe, infinity, ever going, ever growing. It is he or she is the most powerful being in the cosmos.
I'm just picturing at the Vatican, they have one of those like Goodwill Hunting, like 6 blackboards that all move, and they have like, okay, well, what if aliens? And then they're all writing down like, okay, they're just thinking of fucking excuses real quick. It's just huge.
What would be really interesting is if it was demons And that's why the church is hiding everything. You know what I'm saying?
Protect us.
Not to protect us.
What's with you and the demons?
I just hear that a lot lately. People talk about like angels and demons as like that's what we're seeing, not we have put this name on it as extraterrestrials, as humans trying to give it something that we can wrap our head around. It's another creature that lives far away that's coming to
with our
visit
perception
us.
that there has to have good, you have to have bad. In many ways you want to wrap that up.
Or forget even angels and demons, but like when you look back in time and you look at like a fairy, let's say, there just something has been going on under different names for as long as we've been recording history. And right now, in present day, we're giving it this incarnation because we're a technological people, right? We have cell phones and we chat GPT and all. Of course, the things we're seeing from outer space are going to be technological in origin because that's what we understand. But back in the medieval times or whenever, they didn't have that. They had a different technology and hence they gave it a different name, either magic or fairies or dragons or whatever the fuck, right? Like, but whatever this phenomenon is, you can go back all the way to like not prehistoric, but I mean, maybe prehistoric times, but like ancient Egypt further back, right? Like they're all saying that they saw, whether it was a UFO or a god or an Anunnaki or a fucking winged serpent in the sky, Quetzalcoatl or whatever, right? Like these are all just people seeing the same thing, but giving it a different name, or maybe giving it the same name. And by the time it gets back to us as some sort of like recorded history, it's so broken telephone that anyways, I'm sorry. Go on.
This guy's living out in the country, clearly.
Yeah, he's got some time to
I got some time.
form some ideas. They were talking about how they think this is groundbreaking news, but nothing lasts in the news cycle. Except for, I want to point out, for better or for worse, Trump.
And that's because they do not want him to
Is
be president.
constantly in the
again.
news cycle compared to Epstein or...
Well, I mean, politics are always in the news cycle. It's just whether people are actually interested in that, right? Like that doesn't change. They're always talking about like, I don't know.
He just
White
seems to be
House shit.
but he's not even in the White House. He's just...
No, but you know what I mean.
I understand.
It's like other stories come and go. People in submarines, dolphins die, whatever, turtles eating straws. Everything else comes and goes, but politics is...
People in submarines. I also read this week that the paper straws are actually giving us cancer.
Okay, the paper straws. Here, I heard a comedian talking about this the other day. So we're all okay with changing to paper straws. No more plastic straws.
Yeah,
but
but
the
the thing-
caps that go on are fucking plastic. Like, it's so dumb.
It's because they can't go into turtles' nose.
So dumb. One turtle, one straw. It's like the sign, Matt.
Yeah.
One fucking person dives in the shallow end.
Yeah.
No, it's an opportunity for people to have plastic straws and say, fuck you. And people are like, yes, I like this.
Dude, I got 1/4 of the way through my drink before the straw did not function anymore.
Yeah, oh yeah,
It just
terrible.
closed
Terrible.
up like a fucking...
They're awful.
Joe asked Jeremy and Bob if they suffer from UFO fatigue, since Bob's been on this since 1989. And it really is remarkable that they could still give a fuck. That's the only thing that makes me think there's anything here.
A lot.
Not Jeremy either.
A lot has happened in the last little while to keep people interested.
Well, but is it just little breadcrumbs that are going to eat? All roads end to Elon or whatever.
Maybe.
But Kamar, you got to think
roads
about it.
ended
Yeah, but
Elon.
Kamar,
I
you're
like
also
that.
forgetting, like, if you can make a career, like if you're a journalist and you can make a career off
Oh, absolutely. It's like
anything, then why
the
not?
Egyptologist or whatever. Of course, get your bag. That guy thinks the thing is up there. We talked about last week.
Yeah.
There is no partisan divide with the UFOs, which I also say is always something interesting.
Sorry, can I just go back to one thing for a second? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a ton of money to be made in UFOs, and George Knapp in particular, suffered a lot of ridicule as like a serious journalist, like way more detriment than, this made his... He would have been fine reporting on something. I'm just saying, I don't think that holds water for me. Go ahead, Kamar.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So he just So he's going to starve his family to continue the quest for aliens. That's your argument, right?
I'm not saying that he didn't make a living doing it. I'm just saying I don't think
I rest my case.
First of all, he was totally made fun of.
Okay.
So you could make a living if you are willing to totally be made fun of. Okay, doesn't necessarily mean
Fuck,
you're
you
having
think
a
we have
good
podcast?
time.
Yeah, that's what this is.
What else is he gonna do? Work in a restaurant?
Again, don't feel like it holds water, but if that's what you want to hang your hat on, then you be my guest.
Listen, he's obviously doing the Comic-Con circuit. He's obviously doing very well. So
Okay, all right. I'm sure they just started making money once they started doing a podcast.
that's what it's called, the long game.
The long game,
Yeah.
all to make podcast money.
That's, yeah, good for George.
Yeah.
You keep calling him Bob, too, for some reason. I don't know why.
George Knapp?
Yeah.
He has called him Bob a lot
'Cause
of
of
times,
Lazar.
and I
Yeah.
hasn't
Bob
corrected
Knapp.
him.
Bob
Bob
Knapp. I
Knapp. I
hasn't
was just like,
corrected him.
that's his name.
Yeah, no.
He keeps saying
kept
it.
saying Bob.
Sorry,
and I was
listeners,
like,
if you're getting
George
confused.
Knapp.
I'm just
Yeah.
as confused as
Yeah,
you.
I'm very confused.
They get pranked all the time, which is interesting at how much of their time is following complete. I mean, they think they have a pretty good bullshit detector now, but all leads must be investigated.
Well, and not only that. So first of all, you're going to get a lot of yahoos. But also,
Yeah.
you know that the government is out there literally, like this has been proven, that they have a whole department of people trying to mislead you. So
the Yahoo department down at the FBI.
not the Yahoo department, the fucking make you look like a Yahoo department.
They admitted that some people are like, how do reporters know more than the Pentagon? And I asked that same question.
Again, you answered that yourself. It's everything is so compartmentalized that once people start looking into it, you end up finding out more than the people who are actually in it.
Yeah, man, look into it.
Then they talked about, which I think is the most interesting thing, if there's any credibility, in 2019 around the Omaha ship. It's around the water, ships going in and out of water.
Your pedophile stickers are triggering me.
Ships that go in and out of water.
Yeah.
And their biggest concern was, where did it come from and where did it land? And if water is a gateway, a portal or something, that's really the game changer.
The portal at the bottom of the ocean, and then it comes all
The
the
laws of pressure don't apply to them or whatever.
all the
Cold.
way back to nobody explores the ocean. So between here, this is hilarious too. So I've been listening to a lot of ancient civilization stuff, like I told you lately. The amount of shit that they find 30 meters off the coast of everywhere. You know what I mean?
Like what?
Just ancient cities, ancient ports, tons of shit.
So then who's finding those?
Who's finding them?
Well, your first statement was no one's searching the ocean, and
No,
then you
no.
followed it up by when they do, they find all this stuff.
I'm saying
so I'm just
so this isn't like the bottom of the ocean. This is was getting to a point, Matt.
Okay, yeah.
This is so close to the land, and we're just finding it now. You know
so what's
what I
all
mean?
the footage I see of like infrared cameras at the bottom of the ocean?
I think it's bullshit.
Okay, well that's tied up in a nice boat.
No, but I mean that would. Okay. Anyways, I don't know what footage you're referring to.
Well, you're not on Instagram anymore. I've definitely seen tons of like IR footage of.
Oh yeah. Okay. Listen, Matt. The ocean is 80% of the Earth. There is so much space to cover. Like you're probably seeing them look in a space where they know there's nothing. I don't know.
So I'm just curious, how much money would you like the Canadian government to invest in searching the oceans around our country?
Well, let's start with all the money that's going to the Ukraine.
So you don't want to fix the healthcare system, you'd rather or the education system.
If there is a portal at the bottom of the ocean, that could be the answer to all of our problems. Maybe when you go through the portal, you end up in like.
Listen to what you're
perfect
saying. Listen to what
world.
you're saying.
How about that? And we're supposed to have problems, so the powers be, they are going to suppress this and never let you see that.
So you want the Canadian government to spend X amount of money on the theoretical portal that you've made up in the ocean.
Let's back up. Let's
Okay,
back up
sure.
for a second.
Just put a number, put a dollar amount on it. How much should our country spend? How much should you as a taxpayer
As
every
to-
year?
to explore the ocean?
Yes.
I mean, I think you should spend 10% of your budget on exploring the ocean.
Wow.
Well, here's my thinking, Matt. Not only look, it's like if you back in the day, okay? So you would have a tribe of people, okay?
Yeah.
And
Can I just start by saying this? At some point in the next 10 or 15 years, they're going to find a massive deposit of oil somewhere off of Canada's. Like, mark my words, it'll be like Canada's now the richest country on earth. We'll have like Saudi money.
well, oil, I mean, that's like, what if it's something way better than oil?
That's what I was just getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if it's not, Simon?
Well, but how do we know unless we look?
Again, you go off of, like, I say this all the time. We don't know shit. You don't know shit. I don't know shit. How do you know? You don't know who's looking through the ocean and who's not.
I don't know that. You're right.
Yes. So you don't know. There could be right now, there could be hundreds of expeditions all over the Pacific and Atlantic.
Well, when you go and actually look, Matt,
yeah.
the ocean, lots of places you can't go. You can't just go looking. They're cut off from you.
Really? How
From
does
a
that
normal
work?
citizen, because they belong to other places. There are rules to the water. It's not.
Well, most of it's international water. Most of the ocean that you're talking about is
The
international water.
Navies
still-
would know the most.
First
though,
of all,
right?
you don't even have a thing that can get down to look where you need to look.
But except for navies,
well, navies definitely do.
they know the most.
But they're not
About-
allowed to
government.
go in certain places either. Like
airspace.
You think that the Russian Navy can just go dive anywhere they want
In international waters?
in
Yes,
international
I believe
waters?
they can.
I mean, maybe they can. I don't know.
Well, I believe that like at least 50% of the water is international water, if not more. And would that not quench your thirst enough?
Anyways, nobody's doing it, Matt. If they were doing it,
You
you'd
keep
be
saying
saying
no one's
the
doing it.
results from it. People would be telling you there's nothing down there.
That's what they are, and you don't like that.
We looked and there's nothing down there. No, they're just saying, don't bother looking. There's nothing down there. Like imagine, Matt, this is the equivalent, okay? You live with your parents.
Yeah.
There's one door in the house that you're never allowed to go through.
Okay.
And you're like thinking to yourself, well, one of two things. Either they don't want me to see what's down there because it's terrible, or it's so good, right? Like either way, you want to know what's down there. You're going through that door. It's such a no-brainer to me. Sorry, come on. I don't want to get caught up on this guy's trying to sabotage the episode.
That's all right, Simon. No need to apologize. They said as of 1966, there's 50,000 credible sightings. So that just pads their stats.
That's a lot of sightings, Matt.
Okay.
What about the idea that instead of it's like a race or different species, whatever group of life beings, it's like just it's teenagers. They just pop over to Earth to see what's going. Like they people don't
Just
even know
stole the
they're-
car.
I think Joe has a joke that's just like that.
Well, they threw it out there because then Jeremy threw out his idea that the aliens may be leaving us breadcrumbs to find them, which is just stupid. Like, again, it puts our nature of like, give them some riddles. You can't make that easy. They've got to figure it out.
I mean, you never know. Listen, you could. Let's just play this out. I'll play this hypothetical just for fun, for Simon's sake. Let's say you have the power to create civilizations or to create life. So you create life on Earth, and then you build one or let's say many monuments around the Earth. And you don't know what language they're going to develop because that's not how it works. You can just create life, but you don't know what they're going to create after that. So you have to leave the most rudimentary things you can, hieroglyphics and breadcrumbs, like you're saying. Try to get to us. And then maybe it's just a matter of like, we got here. Like, think about it. If you're so advanced, you're so far advanced, you can create life, like I'm saying, you might want to see, could we create life that could become as smart as us eventually, that could find us, that could...
Well, that puts us in the experiment.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine, but who cares? Like, it's so weird to be like Simon and I, this is how this whole podcast started. Simon and I on this exact thing. Like, if you found out tomorrow this was just a big fucking experiment, would you give a shit? No, Simon's not going to stop being a father. He's not going to stop enjoying the things he enjoys. He's going to keep fucking doing it. I don't give a shit.
Just from the whole, like, take us and ants, okay? We would watch ants. You watch a ant colony.
Yeah.
We don't all, though.
No, I'm just saying, you watch an ant colony. There's no time where you, like, after watching them for 100 years, you start sit down and you're like eating with the ants and talking with it. Like that never happens. You're always just an observer.
just
That
build
might be what
farms
this
for the
is.
ants.
We're waiting for them to like have this communication with us. When there's when somebody gets taken by aliens, we're like, oh, they want to show us. They could literally be picking an ant out of the thing, doing and putting the ant back in. Like you're never gonna.
Yeah.
That's another human thing we're putting on them. I'm not saying that's not the case, but it could just easily as well be like that.
I think a better example would be Chimp Empire. Like they are us for all intents and purposes. We observe them from close enough that they're aware.
Yeah.
They're very aware of us. They're not even threatened by us, right? Like if you like think about it, just think about it for a second. Like you said earlier, the thought of like a craft from another planet far, far away coming down, that someone that advanced, that should probably scare the shit out of us, being that we have guns that couldn't probably do fuck all, right? That should scare us, but it doesn't.
No, it
We're
doesn't.
just like, and it's just like the monkeys, where the monkeys are out there in the woods and they're like, these guys have all, they could kill us in a hot minute, but we're just going to eat other monkeys and continue to live our fucking monkey life in the jungle, right? It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
And just back to the monuments.
Dude, you're Pepe Silvio on this fucking page. Like that should be a prize for someone on the Patreon. It's
Just back to the monuments for a second.
yeah.
We assume that we've all like our progression has been one of, and forget even that. We're finding all the time that there were different species of humanoid than we thought there were. Like the Denisovans we found in Denisovan Cave, they were bigger than a normal Neanderthal. They were a bigger species. Maybe something between like man and Australopithecus, but they were also very smart. Anyways, my point is there could have been giants at some point. Like when you read about that in the old tales, the Bible, the whatever, like, and they could have been building those things. We just assume that like our line has been so linear, you know, we start here and we end here at right now being the peak of humanity.
Even then, though, I got to ask you, how giant would you have to be to lift a 2,000-ton block?
Well, again, you could have, right, for sure. But there could have been different stages of those giants as well. And as they interbred with whatever the lower creature below them was, you end up getting smaller and smaller
I get what
giants.
you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm
forget
just saying,
the
like,
giants again. We could just go right back to sound moving the things, and then it's like whatever.
Telepathy.
Don't want to get bogged down.
it's too late.
It's too late.
Joe suggests that we are actually
Kamar, I'm going to
evolving
give you a gentle warning.
to become we're almost done, to become the aliens with ChatGPT, the plastics in our food, or change our genders, and
Well, I think that's a bit aggressive.
the example of the telephone. But there's one thing clear, that we are not designed, if we are designed, to get along, which is the weird thing, or program that they threw in this simulation. That
Do you
they
not remember
they
that
should
Tennessee
bicker and fight?
Do you not remember that Tennessee Williams quote from a couple weeks ago? Merely swords cutting daisies. You don't remember it? I'll find it.
I think the best way to sum it all up is The Sneetches by Dr. Zeus.
Sneetches get steeches.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them had stars and some of them didn't. And it was the perpetual thing of removing and gaining stars to try and be the ruling. Anyways, don't worry about it.
This is kind of long-winded. Do you want me to?
It's fear and envy that are defects.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Yeah, if it applies, I still didn't get it. Swords cutting daisies.
One does not
overkill?
One does not escape that easily from the seduction of an effete way of life. You cannot arbitrarily say to yourself, I will now continue my life as it was before this thing, success, happened to me. But once you fully apprehend the vacuity of a life without struggle, you are equipped with the basic means of salvation. Once you know this is true, that the heart of man, his body, and his brain are forged in a white-hot furnace for the purpose of conflict, and that with that conflict removed, man is a sword cutting daisies, that not privation but luxury is the wolf at the door, and the fangs of this wolf are the little vanities and conceits and laxities that success is heir to.
So what is he saying? That no matter what, you're
He's
going to
saying-
find conflict?
No, he's
Without
saying that we
conflict,
need,
you-
without conflict,
Yeah.
you are a sword cutting daisies.
Well, that is apropos. Do you guys think that aliens influence our cultures? Jeremy's sure they do.
Well, you know what I was thinking about the other day? I was thinking about like really talented, like just people that are beyond talented. You know, the Beethoven, the people that are born talented. You probably know a few of them. Not maybe like high level, but you know what I mean. Maybe there's a chance that like we were created by aliens, but we were just like really dumb and boring. So they were like, we got to send some people down to teach these fucking monkey idiots like what's going on here. So they like sent down like artists and athletes and all sorts of people that were like, well, so much better than us.
Yeah, or what if that is the case? What if like aliens are actually what they called like the fallen angels, the angels that weren't good enough for heaven, you know? So they come down here, they mate with all the women. You have this new breed of thing, this hybrid, human alien hybrid. And over the years, that gets watered down and watered down and watered down because that hybrid person mates with normal humans over and over and over again. And then you get left with like what you call a genius, just a superb human, right? This is the whole alien hybrid theory. Anyways,
So
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
it's interesting.
I think they suggested that the aliens were discovered by military powers what be, and then they help orchestrate the War of the Worlds to see what would happen. Because it's sort of strange where that just comes from. Was there a story about aliens before, and he used that to make the... Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
I don't think anyone in the Civil War was talking about aliens.
He was the Kubrick of his time. What's his name?
But someone else coined the word aliens and UFO before him.
No, but it's kind of like what Simon was saying earlier. Like I like think about it like this, Kamar. Before flight, that's kind of what you're saying.
They
Like,
one
before
destroys
flight,
an airplane or
yes,
anything.
exactly.
Well, balloons, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Again,
would've
they
been
just
balloons.
called it something else.
But it's sexier to think that the information was known that he's based on. See, the War Worlds. We know there's aliens. We got to see what happens if people think there's aliens. Maestro.
Or there's aliens, and we have to spend the next 75 years integrating people into that idea with things
Well, no
like
one at that time knows that.
Star Trek and
I mean, Simon, we also never did the whole like it could just literally be it could be that there is an advanced civilization way the fuck out that sends out meteorites with fungus on them.
yeah, is not panspermia. Yeah, panspermia,
Yeah.
right?
You know what I mean? The idea that just they send them out and then these meteorites hit, like they could have that could be what wiped out the dinosaurs.
Right. It hits.
It hits,
gives
wipes
us
out the
us,
dinosaurs, and then you have these mushrooms there, this fungus that grows all life on Earth and creates everything.
All by chance.
No, by does.
Yeah. No, I mean it would have to have the right. It's going to hit a lot of planets.
That's what I'm
where
saying. It's
not
going to hit
gonna
infinite.
happen.
It's
Yeah.
going to hit an infinite number of planets. They know
Yep.
that, and they're just hoping that it hits, like we said, the perfect,
But
the
that doesn't
Goldilocks zone.
Sure, that explains us. It doesn't explain seeing them. Are they now coming to look at their work? Or
Maybe,
they,
yeah. 'Cause
are
maybe, like I
these
said-
just more. If they can send out that, why can't they just send out drones? It's that whole.
Well, no, but that's what it could be. It could just
theory.
be a drone coming out saying, "Oh, they're at this point. We don't intervene. We don't normally intervene until this point.
Right.
They're long from
or
that."
maybe they never intervene at all. Like I said, with
yeah.
the ants and the you could
Yeah.
just be watching them forever.
Yeah.
We're waiting for them to come and do something, but
But even then, the nukes make sense too, where they're like, "Whoa, I haven't seen this yet."
every now and again the ant sees you looking into the thing, but usually you're not there watching,
Yeah.
you know? Anyways.
Jeremy admits he's the least qualified to talk about this, which I thought was very refreshing.
Well, he's more qualified than Joe.
And then George sounded like he was doing, you're cool, fuck you. I was right all along. And this was like his vindication to be on this. And
You're cool. Fuck you.
but that said, there was nothing new here. Agreed?
I mean, you heard some things you had never heard before.
Such as?
I'm sure I've
Just
heard them all.
some
I'm
of the
sure I've heard them all.
cases.
From you,
No? Okay.
I'm sure I've heard them all.
Okay.
Coming from a different angle.
No,
but it was
you're
always the
right.
same.
There wasn't a ton new. No,
There wasn't anything new. There wasn't a gram new.
I mean, the problem is this, Simon, is like the reason there was nothing new is because Grush didn't really say anything, right?
Well, the idea is that we're moving forward at a rapid pace.
Best
That's
thing
what's
happens.
new.
He falls off the
But
wagon.
we're not.
But we don't know yet, Matt.
So then you
because we
can't
have
say-
to wait and see.
But this is my
the
point. You can't
possibility
say-
is there. It wasn't there before.
Okay, but you can't say, like you just said, we're moving forward at a rapid pace, and then I called you and you went, well, we can't know for sure how fast we're moving.
Okay.
Grush.
Before Grush.
Grush is on the clock.
Relapses, goes leaving Las Vegas, lets the whole thing
Lets the
spill.
whole
Nothing
thing
matters.
out.
That's the best case Ontario, unfortunately for him.
That's the best.
That would be the best. He goes on some cocaine bender and just starts saying fucking name, like Instagram Live.
It would have got higher if they just got one new thing to me, but it's a 2.5.
Oh, really? I'm giving it a 3.5.
2.5 is fine.
I'm giving it a 4.
You
Not
spoke.
very
You talked him out of a
Not very
4.8.
confident there.
No, I can't give it a 4.8.
That's only for
Give it a 4.
surf or some Lahanai.
All right, Bill Maher.
Oh, is that
No,
what
no,
we're
no,
doing?
no. We're doing the singer.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Oliver.
Because
Whatever.
this should take 2 seconds.
Sure.
2027 Oliver Anthony.
You know what? This is actually a good example of why you can't just have like kind of the every man on.
Oh, he's a dullard.
Like you know how
As am I a dullard.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you couldn't like there's a reason that Joe's show works and it's because he has interesting people on and like this guy just because he just got famous, you know.
Well,
Tell me a cocaine bender story.
have you guys heard the song?
Yeah, of
Since
course.
this?
Yes.
Did you like it?
I went out of my
I heard it
way to
before
listen
this.
to it.
You heard?
Why do you think I called him last week?
So you heard the song. You don't hate it.
It's a great song.
When you heard it, did you go, well, here comes another right wing anthem?
No.
You just heard a song about struggle.
Well, hold on. I definitely said, "Here comes another right-wing anthem," but I didn't say it in like I wasn't like fucking. I wasn't angry. I was like, "This is definitely." When I heard it, I knew the right wing would pick it up as like, you know, their anthem. But I think everyone. There's no way that if you're not rich and living in North America right now, that you can't hear that and go, "Fuck yeah."
And this came out, blew up so fast. Obviously, it was first spread by some right-wing guy or something, and immediately adopted by the right wing, and immediately demonized by the left wing. And this guy comes out and says, "I'm not any of you guys." Before they had made the decision again, read the headline, whatever, which is typical.
I was gonna say because really, I didn't listen to the song super carefully, but from the little bit I did listen, it seemed like it was like the government screws the liberals and they screw the conservatives or whatever.
The rich men
the
are
Democrats,
all politicians that work in Washington, D.C., which is north of Richmond. That's what I'm taking.
everybody else, all of us, all human beings who aren't in the government, no matter what side you are on, are south of Richmond, right? And then all the bureaucrats are north of Richmond. Is that the idea? It doesn't matter what side you're on, I guess is my point, Matt. We're all on this side of the fence. Like the government isn't looking out more for the liberals than the Democrats than the Republicans.
They're looking out for themselves.
They're fucking everybody evenly. Everybody's bent over. Everybody has a dick up their ass. Like a blue dick, a red dick,
I think you have both
a
dicks up your
donkey
ass.
dick and an elephant dick. You have two giant fucking animal dicks up
Is
your
this
ass.
song controversial?
No, well, it shouldn't be.
So this is the biggest thing I've drawn from this is the one thing rap had going for it forever was it was controversial. But now it's not controversial. And
It's the only one that gets a pass.
to criticize rap now is probably racist or something.
Yeah, it
and
is,
now
yeah.
this song is the controversial, like it's what is up is down, what is down is up. That this is now country music is the
I mean,
I can't believe they said that. Like it should be all in the umbrella of music.
if you look back in time,
Yeah.
folk music, which I guess is the closest to country music today, has always been about fucking sticking it to the government, exposing
Tracy,
things
it was,
about the inequalities
Tracy Chapman in the 80s.
to the world. Like
Yeah.
this is just
Phil
the
Oakes
same
in the
thing.
70s. So these
I don't know
songs
why
are saying
everybody's so fucking
no
angry.
change happens. It is bizarre that this guy just taped this in his backyard and did
What's
what
really funny though
number
is
one on
if
Billboard.
you're on like if you're a far left person and you're letting this bother you, just know that you're giving it more. You're just adding fuel to this guy's fire. You're putting him on a bigger, like the things that bother you. If Trump bothers you, don't pay attention.
It's like when people hate Joe Rogan so much.
Yeah,
And
don't-
then, and
no
they're like,
one's-
why do you hate Rogan so much? And they're like, well, he's against abortion. It's like, no, he's not. He's for guns, but he's also for women having the
I've
right
also
to
said
choose.
people hate
you
Joe
know?
Rogan because they don't like hearing their dumb friends quote him or use him as a reference.
My cousin hates Joe Rogan, and I always ask her, I'm like, are you under duress right now? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, did someone force you at gunpoint to listen to his show? And she's like, I don't listen to his show. And I'm like, well, then who the fuck cares? She's like, well, I see clips. I'm like, well, no one, again, you don't have to consume any media. No one's forcing you to listen to anything you don't want to listen to. Grow the fuck up. Well, I'm just serious. If you didn't like
Is
this,
that what you say to her?
yeah, if
you
you
tell
don't,
her to grow the
if
fuck
you
up?
didn't like this guy's song, don't listen to it. It doesn't have to be for you. It's that fucking easy.
They were talking about the Dukes of Hazards.
Oh my god, this episode
Hazard.
stunk.
Well, no, but I
don't think there's an S on the end. Dukes of
okay,
Hazzard.
well, you don't know what I'm talking about then.
Maybe it's the Dukes of Hazard.
Dukes of Hazard, whatever. It's
I think
Hazard County. You're right. We watched that. Did you watch that, Matt? I mean, I watched it religiously.
I love
The
it.
show and
And
never
I
watched
had no idea what the generally or anything that they
But you didn't understand the Confederate flag.
it was just a cool looking flag.
Cool
It's like
flag, man.
orange, the
Cool
blue
flag.
works for me.
They did a really good job of making that flag cool. Like if they had had a cool show with a cool car and the swastika on the top, who knows?
They can get away with it. 369 Dodge Chargers were totaled in the filming of that.
369.
Like every show, there was one going around. This is like
so
it
hold
never
on.
drove
How many
again.
episodes of that show are there?
I don't know.
I'm going to check. Is it one an episode?
It's an estimate. It could be 295. It could
I
be
assume there was
205.
probably like 3 an episode if you think about it.
But they did it. Like good on them. Like that must have been a fun timer. Not if people had to actually be in those cars for all the jumps. I don't know if they were dummies that went off. Then they talked about CGI being incorporated into stuff, and CGI is probably good for the environment.
How many cars, Kamar?
300
147 episodes. That's 2 an episode.
sounds about right. CGI is environmentally friendly. A lot more of the effects you can do on a computer than you'd have to like build the model, destroy it, or whatever.
Dude, I just realized with the program I use to edit this shit podcast, it's insane. Kamar, I could turn these lights off. I could dimly lit this whole fucking thing, and you can just create. Not only can you create light, you can then go in the program and be like, I want the light coming from here and here.
Oh, no way.
You can move. It's fucking bananas.
So
what
you don't
can
even
do
need
now.
lights anymore?
I haven't tested it out. I'm gonna do a bunch of like test shoots this week just to fucking play around with it. But it's like I was watching this guy who's a colorist, and what you can do is fucking shocking. So yeah, it's probably good for the environment.
CGI is good for the environment. The exploitation based on success is wild to see, because this guy could be Coney right now. Remember the guy raised all the
Coney
money for
2012,
Coney, all the
yeah.
money came in, and next thing you know, he's running around naked with his dick in his hand.
Yep.
He seemed very level-headed, and he said his biggest problem was it was too late. He wanted to do something, and then was paralyzed by my windows passed, and then beating himself up for being a piece of shit. People could hear that, and it's never too late. You just got to do it. Bloated government. It is crazy how, like, should the federal government here have to have a deal with housing? It's sort of weird, right?
Well, our government shouldn't be
what?
as bloated as it is.
The federal government is with this one government that's sort of supposed to oversee, but the provincial government, or in America it'd be state, should be running most stuff.
Yeah,
right?
but what do you mean have a deal with housing?
Well, right now they're asking the federal government to help them with housing. The federal government is just the biggest giver of welfare to everybody, right?
The federal government should be there to help the provinces or the states
In an
when
emergency.
they need the help.
Yeah.
No, the federal government is really their sole job should be upholding the law.
Defense sort of thing.
Well, I mean, they make the money appear, right? Like when money needs to be created out of nowhere to give money to the people.
That's not supposed to be how the system works, unfortunately. But
It seems like its fingers are on a little too much stuff. And if you squash it down a bit, allegedly, everyone would have more money just to be able to buy their house or pay their mortgage.
So I wonder if is it a good thing then for like Alberta's talking about just fucking bouncing from Canada.
I'm not smart enough to know, but you'd only find out after. Joe brought up the example that governments can bail out a company and then they can pay it back with interest and they keep jobs. So it has a role, but maybe it's too many people. Because the one thing in this song is when he said about welfare, people on welfare can't eat their fudge rounds or whatever. And that's what people took a lot of exception to, is that you saying you think welfare is a bad thing. And I think welfare is a bad thing. Like, it should exist, but there should be other ways for
corporate
people
welfare shouldn't exist. Period.
Well, the corporate welfare was an example of bailing out the company, keep jobs, and then they can pay it back.
Yeah,
But it doesn't. It goes to pay the fucking president.
CEOs.
Here's the problem. We have banks for that. Banks make billions of dollars every year, and they do so by making
companies should borrow the money from banks and pay it back to them, and the government.
This is how the system works. Is if I need money, I can go to a fucking bank and they will lend me that money at an exorbitant rate, and then I can pay it back. And if I don't, they take my home or my car or whatever fucking collateral I put up. These companies, I can't go to the government and say, "Can you lend me money for 10 years?" I mean, there's programs, but the point is like, we should have said you can go to a bank, and the problem they wouldn't, because the bank never would have lent them the money. The bank would have looked at their books and said, "We don't do this. Yeah, we don't lend money to fucking companies that are failing. This isn't how this works." But instead, then the government said, "Hey, guess what? We'll do it, and I don't care if they paid it back with interest." That's not how the fucking world works. If you own a mom and pop shop, Kamar, and you run your business poorly, the government is never going to bail you out ever. Doesn't matter how many jobs you create.
All I wanted to say is I think we should want for there not to be welfare, a need for welfare.
Sure. Let me ask you guys a question. Who's more important, artists or Spotify?
Spotify, so the
Artists.
artists can get out there. Well, if
You
there's
say
no artist,
Spotify.
there's no Spotify.
Artists are more important.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Simon. You're
Of
correct.
course, there would be no Spotify without artists.
Correct. So this is the way business works as well. You can say this whole like they create jobs. There is no business without the fucking employees, who they pay poorly, might I add, in most cases. Either way, you don't bail out companies. The government shouldn't be bailing anyone out ever.
But they do. Joe talked about the good thing about comedians is their community. Is his community is quite small and elite. I think that's
yeah.
the one thing he's.
Yeah, it's not normal
is
comedians.
that not everyone is
Most comedians
high five and backslapping.
don't get to hang out at the mothership and then go do their multi-million-dollar podcast. Like most people struggle.
His name is not Oliver Anthony, and Joe's taken back, but I was like, it's like Eminem or fucking whatever. Like
Joe Rogan.
you do whatever you want. Well, I think that is his real name. It was adorable. His grandpa did not know his name.
That's hilarious.
This is another time.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Anthony.
I just called him Strawberry Disgusting.
He doesn't say he's
Turned
religious.
out it was Anthony.
But he found Jesus.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Once he started reading Bible quotes, I was like, oof.
But what he
Really
says,
taking a turn.
what he said, and I think it's like when you read the horoscope, you're like, that it just makes sense. And you can read these things with open mind, and they could just make sense as good ways to live your life, and other things probably wrong. I like that.
If you're reading the Bible and only taking the good things and doing them and not actually going out and like stoning virgins or whatever, I think you're probably going to be ahead of the game. Like
Well, no, but you were probably already a good person.
He just feels the writings are timeless.
Right.
Or unless you're looking for people to attack, in
I
which
guess.
case it's filled
Yeah,
with
yeah,
ideas.
it's true,
You know,
yeah.
the gays, the Jews, the
Also like that the song Richmond, North of Richmond wasn't even like his favorite song.
Yeah,
You'll
it's like a throwaway,
often
yeah.
hearing that with like we thought this was a hit or no one knew, so that throws some more randomosity into it. That Ain't Got a Dollar by Don't Need a Dime, great song. He just you look at record companies and like get the studio and the producer. He just filmed that or recorded that on his Android, put up and making money. That's really cool. I think.
You know what's funny?
Whether
though,
you
is,
like his music or not.
when you hear when I hear that, I'm like, it is cool. I agree. That listen, TikTok, as shitty as it may be, has launched a lot of
It is
decent
now.
careers.
It is the Coca-Cola countdown or whatever you want.
Yeah, and that's great. I haven't listen. If you're talented, I want your top quality talent to rise to the top. I want you to find success. That's fine.
we want the talented people to rise to the top. The problem is most of the people who succeed are horribly untalented, and then it just fucks the whole
Well,
system.
we'll
up.
get in the next one because it's the fact that money influences so many things. He tried to take.
Well, do you know? Hold on,
Anthony into- sorry.
just sorry, real quick. TikTok, for example, like he got big on TikTok, didn't he? Or was it?
No, YouTube.
Oh, it was YouTube. Okay.
You don't make money on TikTok, but
Yeah, you
you
do.
build.
No. Come on.
Not a lot.
This
No.
is.
You get exposure and you can.
You know who Zach
That's it.
King is?
Yeah.
He's the guy that does
you
those
told,
like.
you talked about it. He makes like 50
Yeah,
cents for,
like none. It's crazy.
But he has Twitter and everything else.
Yeah. It's a. But do you
TikTok
know?
is the best way to get a bunch of people, and then you've got to use it or get them onto other platforms.
I think just as many people probably watch like YouTube Reels or fucking,
can I ask-
You know what I mean? It's all the same. You're seeing TikToks.
Well, maybe
on
it's even
YouTube
out, but there was a
Reels.
point where TikTok and like the guy said, they were chosen by China, these certain kids to
Right,
be
yeah.
top of the algo, anyways.
Rice Gum or
And,
whoever.
and someone sees rice. No, Rice Gum was YouTube.
Well, you know what I meant.
I
was
do,
just
I
trying
just-
to stay.
But I
hip
also
for
think
the
I
kids.
also truly think China is just. I think there's a play that we can't see, and I think it has a lot to do with. I think they bullshit the numbers to prop up. I think they know that they're tearing away the fabric of society because Americans and Canadians we don't.
They're doing the Russian thing.
I was
that,
gonna
the
say,
guy-
wouldn't it make sense that they're just doing that exact same? That all countries who have any power are trying to do
Demoralize
that
the
exact same
country.
thing.
Yeah, like they're just trying to say, listen, we don't want you to have doctors or
Yeah.
anyone. We just want you to have idiot TikTok stars dancing in the street, and then your country's just going to fall apart. It's the long
Trojan
game.
horse, yeah. Yeah, there's a quote they talked about Joe Biden. He said, "We're going to arrest you for everything but jaywalking," when he was of sound mind, because he's an asshole. And then somehow Oliver gets a box of fan cigars and Joe's down to open them, but he cannot open them, which exposed real Joe. Just playing with the box for 10 minutes of dead air.
You know the scene in Zoolander when the information is in the computer, and then they turn
in the computer. Yeah,
and they're trying to get into the computer. Anyways,
And then they light the cigars and that's it.
great. Good job, Kamar. Way to whip through that.
Yeah, I'm happier he wasn't like a Dave Smith.
yeah.
Like he's just a nice guy from a small town who will remain to be seen what happens. Like,
Listen, he
moving
seems like a
forward.
10 out of 10 guy. I feel bad that I'm going to rate this episode so poorly. It was just a
And
terribly boring episode.
I didn't listen to his other music, but I feel it's like he came out and it's like if I was an artist and I painted 25 pictures that were
Bigfoot.
a cartoon and one that was oil painting about the French Revolution, and all of a sudden I'm the French Revolution guy, you know?
I just
Well,
hope
if he does a rap song, it would be weird.
Well, no, I was going to say, I hope for his sake that people aren't like, do another song about the, you know what I mean? Like, I hope he just enjoys a good career making good music. I hope he's not like drawn to a certain.
But it's just an interesting time where this song is more controversial than
ridiculous.
rap music. I give it a 2.8.
You really.
Like the girls aren't showing their tits to Luke Bryant because he's making poignant music about overthrowing governments.
Yeah.
It's because whatever, they sound good. You know what I mean?
But that's
Anyways.
they used to, when rap was most controversial, the gangster the ghetto wars. That was the problem. Now it's the country singers. They're the white supremacists. They're the biggest
Well,
threats.
we'll have to watch if the government starts trying to make this whole thing into something, and then
Well,
I give it a 2.
we see it starting. Brianna Chicken Fry, is she with Luke Bryan?
no Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan.
Brianna Chicken Fry. I can't even fucking listen to this.
Okay, done.
What do you rate it? You didn't rate it, asshole.
Oh, I give it. What did you guys give it?
He gave it a 2.8, and I gave it a 2.
I give it a fuck you.
Love the song.
1.7.
All right, there you have it. We are going to take a break. We're going to pay a bill, and we will be right back.
Keep your eyes open.
Come on, name and a number.
2026 Peterburg.
Back in time. We gotta get back in time.
So you guys didn't watch his because you watched Dope Sick, obviously.
Okay, and that's my problem with Joe. Okay.
Okay.
So Dope Sick has been out for years, literally multiple years. Same story. We've known about the Sacklers forever, but like it takes him this long. People have told him to watch Dope Sick how many times?
Yeah.
How many times?
Yeah.
I just don't understand the guy, man. I don't get him.
I don't think he watched this one either, though.
You think he's just lying about watching it?
I think he maybe watched like an episode.
I agree. I think that might be the case, Matt.
It's interesting though. They talked about the artists
The artist.
like Tom Petty. Just got it
Prince.
off a Prince as well,
Oh, I see who died of the overdose. Yeah, gotcha.
which is, I mean, all the deaths are sad, but those especially are like it doesn't discriminate.
No, but I mean, with guys like that, I think they would have ended up doing some other drug. You know what I mean? This one was just convenient.
But I think it's also they didn't get what they thought they were getting, which is another overarching thing where we always talk about legalization is the only way you're going to make stuff pure.
Wasn't
No.
that a Tom Petty song? I didn't get what I thought I was getting.
Is that how Tom Petty died? I didn't even know that.
Yes.
He got like a fentanyl,
I think it was a Percocet, if you know what that is.
fentanyl Percocet.
Something laced with, yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Something to that effect, like not.
Did you just say a Percocet? If you know what that is, that was cute. That was cute. That was cute.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, he is talking about the soccer family. The one interesting thing is this time stamps it because it was August 22nd. And he said on the 12th, 10 days prior, they had blocked the aforementioned settlement of $6 billion to get them off the hook. So maybe that's
Look at that. The Supreme Court stepping
Some
up
good
and doing
news.
something fucking good.
because the last we had heard they'd paid off a bunch of money and were absolved of any more liability.
Wouldn't it be great if they went after all their cash?
Yeah. Yeah. If we really,
Like if you killed 500,000 Americans,
if you put murder charges on them and then civil cases tied to each one of those.
well, they should go to jail. I mean, that's the end of the, right?
I mean, when you look at the fact that it would be one thing if they had this thing, it worked, and they had no idea that it was going to addict this many people, but they knew all along. Like, there was no doubt they fudged every. Because the whole thing was non-addictive, right? If they had been giving this
May
pill
not be
to
addictive.
everybody and saying, look, this is going to get you, but you're definitely going to get addicted. You know what I mean? Like, people would have been way more hesitant to take it, I would think.
And then their position was to blame the user, not the drug.
And then to
You're
go
an
down the
addict.
route, yeah.
What are the odds?
But that's a weird flex. How do you say it's not addictive and then be like, you're the addict?
Like, because other people are doing it and they're not getting addicted. Maybe they can't even show those numbers. I think we've had a discussion.
I mean, not every person who takes drugs for pain ends up addicted.
Exactly. That's what I just said.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Hey, boo-boo.
That's would have to be their position to be blaming the user.
No, I'm saying though, but that is true. Not every person. It's an alarming amount of them, but it's not everybody.
We put too much of an onus to avoid pain, but we think, like, of course, no one should have to feel pain. We've had this discussion before.
Again, that's so easy for people to say who aren't in pain all the time. Like, try living with chronic pain. It fucking sucks, man. It's there when you go to sleep. It's there when you wake up. Like,
So
it sucks.
overall, like a lot of people have died, but is it possible that it's done more good than bad? And it's almost sadly just collateral damage. And it's horrible. Like it's 16-year-olds.
No,
the first time they ever do something to.
I feel like there was a way for
Oh,
them to, like, look, they obviously found a compound that relieves pain really, really well. So instead of just keeping like making a shitty thing that has that side effect, they could have put all their research into using that same compound to become non-addictive, which wouldn't have made them as much money, but would have, right? Like it all comes down to greed. There was a way to do this without
No, I don't think it would have made them any
addicting
money.
half the world.
No, I think that was kind of like the.
No. You have a pain reliever that works that well, that's non-addictive. You are going to make a lot of money. Just like he just said, there are lots of people who don't like to be in pain.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I get it. I don't know that was ever. I don't know. Either way, they did what they did.
I mean, look, they when that compound was first invented or found or whatever the case was,
You're talking about heroin or the one that they had the first patent for, like originally?
whatever it was, you fine synthetic heroin. What I guess that's a bad example.
Because I was like,
it's
that's
super
always been addictive. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, like they use all sorts of drugs for surgeries, for right, like you need those things. Or
Sure,
else
but
you
think
wouldn't
about
be able to get that surgery.
But think about it like this: if you had surgery and I put you under using heroin and you didn't know, would you ever gain a dependency on heroin? Because you just did it that one time, and I didn't tell you it was heroin. I never let you know. I just said I was putting you under.
I'm not sure what.
Well,
you
that's
mean.
unethical, but it's
What I'm saying is like,
hypothetical.
can you be hooked on like if you're hooked on coke, you know that it's the coke you want. It's not like nothing else is going to quench it. You know it's cocaine. But what I'm saying is like if I gave you, let's say you and I were lost in the woods. Okay, I'm a surgeon by trade.
Okay.
In this parallel universe. Okay, I'm a top tier surgeon. You and I go out into the woods, and we get lost for a couple days. You end up breaking your leg. It's bad. I have to do something. I got to cut you open, but I want to put you under. Now you happen to have a little bit of hair. No, sorry, I have heroin. You don't.
I'm so confused. Yeah, keep going.
Just listen. The point is this: I need to put you under.
Yeah.
So I give you heroin to put you under. I cut you open. I get you stitched up. You wake up. Are you going to be hooked on heroin from that one time?
No.
You don't even know you've done heroin, right?
Well, you're just not. I think physically you can't get hooked from heroin off that one time. But anyways, it doesn't put you under either. That like
know.
putting you under is something totally different. This is.
I get it, but I could
relieve
probably
the
put
pain.
you. But you never know. With a good dose of heroin, I might be able to.
I'm sure they gave people enough morphine to like knock them out. Yeah, I don't think that's like super good for you.
No, I don't imagine it is.
It is an amazing feeling though when everything just goes away.
Well, yeah, you guys have both done it, so.
Yeah, it is.
Like I've done it recreationally and like done it in a hospital. But
it-
either way, it's just
It
like
works good for both. I can attest to that.
And so, if 100 people avoided pain, like had more functional lives, 100 million people and 10 million people die, or I think it's 1 million people. I don't know how many people died.
It's 500,000.
It is
No,
then
it's
doing
not.
more good than bad.
It's too many people dying without them trying to fix the problem, which is people not needing the drug and using it recreationally. That's
It's a good question though, Kumar. What's the threshold for you?
There's
Simon?
got to be something, right?
Yeah, there has to be an acceptable number. What do you think it is?
I don't know what it is. I guess you would have to look at other drugs that aren't habit forming that have actually helped people, but then there's an amount of people that are going to have negative effects to them. That's going to be the case because we're not perfect.
Alcohol.
This is totally different.
Smoking.
This is totally different.
Smoking is clearly showing the numbers, right? A lot of people die of
Yeah, but
smoking.
nobody
every year.
is prescribing cigarettes to you and being like, this is going to help with your pain. And then you get addicted to them.
Well, they
That's-
were. They were 50 years ago.
Again, I don't think they were ever claiming it was going to help you with pain.
I'm sure they were lying about everything. But
Anyways.
it's just interesting that cigarettes were marketed to us, not like a thing we thought we needed.
Oh yeah, they were like, these will make you skinny.
or
Your husband doesn't want a
Relieve
fat
pain.
dishwasher,
no,
does he?
no drug should be marketed to you. Like it's only the U.S. Well, we do it now in a very sneaky way. We've talked about that, but like that should never happen. Those drugs should only be prescribed to you by a doctor who sees that you need them. The second you're asking for a drug, like,
and there's nothing worse than well, maybe to a bad toxic relationship, but losing someone to drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
And you from the outside see their pain, and they can only do one thing, which the Sackler family is responsible for, right? But then
those people. Sorry,
the Sackler family is responsible for a lot of that pain, and the one guy, Curtis Wright, was locked in a room. I don't remember that from. The other one
From Dope Sick?
Dope Sick. So, sorry, pardon me.
Yeah, so
Listeners,
in
for that
this one, they
pause.
give that guy like a full episode.
I think the big difference in this one, I think somebody told me this, is that in Dope Sick, the guy who's like constantly writing the letters to
The FDA.
the FDA saying, what the fuck? Like he was like the whistleblower guy. And apparently it was a woman working for him that prompted him to then, you know what I mean? So I guess there was like and I think that's who they focus on.
Flowers, I think is her name.
It's still strange, and I was trying to tell someone. You guys remember when this was?
Yeah, of
These
course.
pills were just everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't explain enough. Like,
Yeah.
And you were only seeing like the tail end of it. Like it was nothing. You know what I mean?
no, but I saw
you knew
people
a
with
guy
Ziploc
who,
bags full of them. Like,
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You only saw it on the black market. These people were going to
Yes,
the
yes,
doctors.
yes.
We never saw anything like that. These pill mills, that's a totally
well,
different thing.
I think we were seeing the
Tail end.
The black market was feeding off of.
Well,
the-
yeah,
the
because there were
legal
just so
use or
many.
whatever,
I'm
but
just
so
saying, I
much.
think it's different to roll up on like one of those clinics and see people lined up out the door for this legal drug dealer, you know?
And you would think the pharmaceutical companies would want to crack down on people getting on the black market.
Well, they did crack down, right? Like with OxyContin, they made a different covering so people couldn't like crush them up anymore.
Snort 'em,
you know?
yeah.
And that was the pharmaceutical company doing it.
That was somebody doing
that was
it.
the government
I think
telling
it
them.
was
I think-
maybe
I
the
think-
government
I think they
telling
were
them.
telling you they weren't
I don't
doing it.
think they do it. I don't think they do anything on that.
Unless they thought they could sell more pills.
What was crazy about the Oxy was like people that I knew who would like not do drugs, like did them.
Because it was just seems so like it's so
Well, it's legal,
abundant. And
so it
Yeah, it
seems
was just
safe.
it was
it's
weird.
like an
you know?
aspirin.
It was
That's
very odd.
I guess that's the problem. Is it seems safe.
Yeah, like I remember this dude like losing his fucking mind one night because he like voluntarily took an Oxy and then was like, "You guys did something to me." I was like, "No."
Feeling too good.
I was like, "No,
Which
bro, you're
is
on
weird
fucking
because
Oxy."
I never understood that reaction to it. It's almost like he didn't take the pill.
Oh, you remember who I'm talking about?
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, this Chris Wright guy then gets a job with Purdue for $400,000 a year, and so that just goes to show money wise how much something is worth.
That happens all the fucking time. Some guy's working for like the environment, whoever, and then ends up getting a job with fucking BPL or
Yeah.
dude, my
BP,
brain
yeah.
isn't working.
BP.
Chemicals,
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, what's weird about this one was like, and again, it's dramatized. You don't know what's what, but this guy was like, he was real adamant that he was not like he denied them hundreds of times. Like they have records of this guy being like, nope, 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 like just over and over again, and they just slowly started finessing him.
And he's like, I never saw them coming.
Well, really, when you look back at the whole thing and like every time they would cite that study, I know
Yeah, the
we've
New
talked
England
about it before,
Journal of
and it
Medicine.
was a letter someone wrote to
Yeah,
them,
to the editor.
I could have wrote it.
Well,
it's
also-
it's like a nothing burger.
The study or journal is owned or run by the
Well,
pharmaceutical
that
companies.
too. Well, we know that part
well.
is so crooked. It's like, yeah, we're gonna run our trials, and by the way, we own a trial company. You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Saving you the trouble.
It's funny. The same thing is happening with weed right now in Canada. It's like you can grow weed, you know, on the real market. You grow weed, and then you have your own testing facility who tests the potency of your weed, and you're just like,
Well, that's the problem is when you think about these regulatory bodies, you think that like there's a government agency out there doing the work. And instead it's the government agency that has a room in a building and all they do is oversee these
No,
companies
yeah.
doing
And
their
it's
own
not
testing.
even. It's pretty much they've implemented a rule that then these companies have to follow, but they're allowed to police themselves for
Yeah.
the rule. It's so fucking dumb.
But
Anyways.
what makes them crazy is that I don't know if they're unaware of the wrongdoing or they don't see the nature of their ways, but they still want their name on museums and stuff. Like you think you just go quietly into the night,
No.
but they try to whitewash, or I don't know what the term is. And then he brought up about how Nobel invented dynamite,
Yeah.
and that is a whitewash to cover up all the death and destruction that he actually was the cause of.
Our whole past is written by the winners. And if it was written by the losers, you'd get a whole different view.
It was to clean up his image.
That's what I'm saying.
And how many images do we behold that
How
are
many, like,
I mean, hold on though. Let me
Covering up.
Let me ask you a question though. Like let's say you create dynamite and you don't think at the time, like, because there is like dynamite's used in mining. There's a lot of uses for dynamite that aren't killing people.
no, but he probably invented it for war and then they figured
Sure.
out
Let's
another
give him the
use
benefit
for
of the doubt here that he was like, "Hey, I'm in the mining industry and then they end up using it for bombs." And again, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He then sees this article that says he's a merchant of death. And he thinks to himself, well, fuck this. I'd rather do some good with all the money I've made. Like, it's not that terrible a story if you look at it that way.
I mean, maybe.
I'm just saying.
I wasn't saying Nobel is evil.
I just wonder how many, like, we know that our history is kind of skewed a little
Yes,
bit,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
We're all
yes,
in agreement
yes,
there. So how many, like, and I'm being serious here,
Mm-hmm.
how many Nazis are like inventing penicillin or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, we bring them over, they invent some amazing drug and we whitewash it to make it look like,
But do you care?
I mean, yay and nay.
Well, the question is this: like, penicillin has saved countless numbers of people. It's probably saved someone. There's a good chance it saved someone in your family.
No, for sure. And if it was a Nazi who did it, I would want to know.
I get what you're saying.
So that guy
Sure.
isn't celebrated.
Sure.
And we still get the drug. That's the way it should have been. We brought these guys over. We, in essence, they won the war. They got the spoils. These guys should now work for us and make all the shit we want, because otherwise they were going to be put to death or whatever.
Simon, what I was saying is there might be hundreds of cases of that.
I'm sure our whole fucking country, our whole system is built on that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there might be some white dude out there who you're like, oh, this guy's the patent on a thing I use every day. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, there's some German in a basement somewhere who's like, oh, does he?
Yeah. You know who invented PB&J?
A German?
Nazis.
So they must sleep at night sort of thinking that we help more people than we hurt at the end of the day. And drugs is a finicky business.
Well, did the Sacklers only do OxyContin?
Yeah.
That was the
Was
only drug they made. They made every bit of money off one drug.
So the story was
can't answer.
So the story was this: they had his uncle. Yeah, his uncle had the patent on one drug, and it was gonna become generic, and like they were out of the game basically. They had no way of really making money, and then he figured out
that the slow release, right? That was,
whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, but they changed
I know.
something in
so
it.
they only had one drug. That's crazy, man.
Well, that's why they pushed it so
That
fucking
is crazy,
hard.
because like that doesn't even make any sense. A company like Pfizer has so many drugs,
Yeah.
and they have a lot of losers, and they have a lot of and those things balance each other out for the R&D, I'm sure.
But that's why these guys had spent no money on R&D also, right?
They
Put all their eggs
They
in
just
one
threw all
basket.
their money
Dude,
at fucking.
the whole thing is fucking nuts.
They can't apologize.
I mean, what's crazy is this, Simon. So in this show, the and again, I don't know how much of it is dramatized, but if it's real, this woman was investigating something else. She went to like North Carolina to investigate this doctor that had been billing Medicaid for Fugazi X-rays, and then she was like, "Why do you have all these like?" She's like, "You prescribed a shitload of painkillers too." And he was like, "Oh, well, you know, whatever." And then she went to a pharmacy to investigate the painkillers that he had been prescribing. And when she shows up at this pharmacy, the pharmacy got robbed by a guy hooked on Oxy. So then she was
You
like,
don't know if that's dramatized?
well, my point is they threw it in there, so I assume it's real. I'm just going off.
All that stuff I
There's
think is
no
more
way
real.
that's real.
I assume that's more real than any of the interactions they have of Sacklers and what they were saying.
Of course, that's
That
all
stuff that's not
dramatized,
real.
100%.
But that'd be ballsy to throw that in there just to spice it up.
Anyways.
I mean, Peter Berg doesn't seem like he. Well, maybe you never know. Sometimes they take artistic, but if that's true, like her whole thing was she went to investigate this X-ray machine, and she gets there, and she ends up seeing like, holy fuck, there's actually a whole community here hooked on this fucking drug that low key, no one knows. Like at that point, there was whole states that were hooked on fucking oxy, and no one knew about it. No one in the government had any idea. The best too is that there was like a state senator or a congressman who was like rallying heavy against oxy, and he ended up going to work for the Sacklers like a year later.
Yeah, the government must have been so confused because, like, I don't get it. Usually the drugs that are out here, we brought them in. Where
Yeah.
are they getting all their drugs from?
What's this one from? Yeah.
We didn't import this stuff in.
CIA, call your Colombian guy.
Yeah, what's
this?
going on here?
They can't apologize. They don't show remorse. Peter compared them to serial killers. Then he went to say like Putin. Then he was misquoted.
Yeah, that was fucking hilarious.
That was so funny.
That was hilarious.
Just get checked once in a while if Jamie's in the house.
And then tried to like pass it off on, oh, that's what I thought. It still makes him look bad.
The cost we've talked about how many he did one example. I think he was on a submarine or a warship
Oh, how many just
of the warheads and the cost per and the amount of like what are we doing here?
The really crazy part about that is that there's just this one boat sitting in the harbor that has enough munitions on it to destroy the whole world.
But
Like,
it's not like we can sell it and get the money back and put
No,
it to
it's
social
already- yeah.
programs.
No, that money's
it's-
spent.
It's such useless stuff because
you're hiring a bodyguard for your country. That's what you're doing.
but it doesn't maintain itself. It always has to be freshened up.
I mean, theoretically, Kamar, again, we don't know what nuclear things look like. We don't know what an armed nuclear bomb looks like in comparison to a replica of an armed nuclear bomb.
Back to why I don't think it exists is
Just sitting around the harbor. That seems crazy. And they're going to let this civilian on there?
humans are so shitty. Someone would have tried it by now. Some crazy person would have
Somebody
wanted
would've tried it by
to
now.
destroy the world and do it.
Why isn't, what's his name doing it?
But we don't know
That's
that.
very
That's
vague. What's his name?
Kim Jong Un.
Yeah.
Ill.
Because they don't want to be attacked. I just answered my own question. That's why I didn't.
I think it's also self-preservation. Like
That's
you're
what I
you're
mean.
literally everyone has family. Everyone has someone they care about, and you launch that nuke, and
There's
it's
enough people that don't.
Well, you're definitely going to be killed. There's no. Right?
Well,
like,
my joke about Kim Jong is they're always tests. Those are full-on attacks. They just don't have it going. Those are completely like he's the day we blow up the world and it crashes in the water. But he's fully on the
tried
offensive.
multiple times.
That's all he's doing.
He's like Dr. Evil,
dude. By the way, we're
just keeps fucking up.
we're going to war with Russia, 100%.
That's what they're saying now. Yeah,
Really?
100%.
that's the prediction.
Who's going to war with Russia?
All of us. They're building a canal right now that will give NATO ships access to the Black Sea, and that alone, I assume Russia is gonna.
Unless saner heads prevail,
Aliens. We need aliens.
they really got into just how he reinforced that all decisions are based on money,
Yeah.
like over the good of the people or the direction of stuff. And surprisingly, we didn't know that they got into fight talk.
Well, I mean, look, before fight talk, when you look at like the wars that the military industrial conflict has got the United States into, like, of course that's true. Mm-hmm. It's all about money over everything else, over the lives of their own citizens. Like, you're talking about obviously a sect of the government that like literally look at soldiers as like fodder, as kindling for a fire. And you guys are all either sheep to slaughter or pigs being fattened.
You're on fire
Sorry,
today.
go on. I know. I know. Like, clip all of these, Matt.
So they got into fight talk, and Peter referred to boxing as very saucy, and it is sort of weird.
Very saucy.
It's really strange how there's no adults in the room with boxing. After all these years.
Yeah, it's
just
so
this-
corrupt,
It's
that's
just like
why.
the WE, but like people
It's
get really
because
hurt and
it's still
stuff.
being run by the mob, so there's no like actual regulating body because they're the regulating body. But really, Dana White should buy boxing. He
Well,
could
I
make
think
it
Maggie
great.
disagree with that right away. No.
Dana White's a fucking problem. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
not-
bet he's a nice guy and a
The
good guy to
sheiks,
know.
The Arabs. the only
Not
people who can
Dana
afford-
White. No, it has to be somebody who could actually like pull it together. You know.
Well, no, it has to be that every single person who's the head of whatever they are gets
Is
a
out.
billion.
Yeah.
To walk
To
away.
walk away. Yeah.
And that would I think would be great, but of course, the only people who do that is the Saudis.
It wouldn't
They
be
can do
great.
that-
Boxing
it
is,
wouldn't be
listen,
great.
the reason boxing was what it was for so long is because it was the only game in town. But now that there's fucking MMA, like, I'm sorry, boxing is fucking boring.
No,
Well, no,
boxing
but
would be fun.
What
if
about
you
his
got to see
suggestion?
all the good
What
fights.
about his suggestion?
You just
Simon,
never get
you
to
and I
see
have
The
watched
ring
3 good boxing
rotates.
fights. You've fallen asleep
I
in
love
all
that.
of them.
The ring
love that.
rotates, and
No,
have a
you know
boxing
what I
match.
didn't fall asleep for? Jake
What?
Paul fights.
Oh my god, they're on earlier. For the
No, but
kids.
like you wouldn't like to watch like
You think boxing should just be the remain? It is?
Gervonta Davis against like Canelo or something.
Like,
I don't care.
When they mention boxers, I have no grasp. Actually, I don't have no grasp of UFC either, but it seems like they are all in one league, and there can only be one in each division.
No.
Boxing, there can only be one in
And
5,
boxing is
and it's
insane. That's why the UFC makes sense. You know, there's just these weight classes.
actually it's like the Premier League and Champions. It's Champions League, where the best of each division ends up fighting each other, and that's how they share belts. I think I just figured out boxing. Wow, man, it took 50 years. They talked about the Saudis are the one who could do it, and then the Lion City. Have you guys seen any of the YouTube videos of the graphics to see what that is supposed to be like?
Crazy.
Yeah, have they started doing anything yet?
Well, Peter said, yeah, he was there watching them do it. And it's supposed to be sort of like somehow up and running in 2030. There was a story in the news that in San Francisco, they're going to build a city of the future outside of it. So the rich people will move
They're going to
there.
build it out of human feces.
And that's going to open, no, outside of San Francisco. So they don't have to live in San Francisco. And hopefully people who live in San Francisco can live there again. They're also thinking of building a billionaire is trying to build a city in Arizona. All these are like green cities and all this, or super gated, which I think would find very interesting. There's also one being built by North Carolina. So the billionaires, instead of like helping, are just like, fuck this shit, we're out of here. We'll build our own
It's like
thing.
Elysium.
Some of them are trying to go to Mars. Some of them want to stay here, but it's going to have to be in gated communities.
What's Elysium?
That have like a giant umbrella over top because the sun is going to be too hot for you normal folks.
Elysium was that Matt Damon movie where all the rich people lived up in space. They had built like a
You have to get on like a shuttle to get onto the
Yeah.
ark, I
So,
think
yeah.
they called it.
That's that, and this is happening on Earth. So it's like if the city's just because everyone talks about how bad it's getting bad here. I finally saw an article in the paper how, like the merchants are really like, what the fuck is going on? Because it feels like the cops don't do anything in our city.
The most poignant part about that Apple show,
contraception.
yeah,
No.
yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Conservants, whatever it was.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Conquistador.
Anyways, where it was in the future, they were only talking about a 2-degree change in temperature over like whatever it was, 25 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
Like half a degree, everybody's wearing billy boots because there's water up to your knees everywhere, and half a degree more. It doesn't take a lot.
Well, that's happened, and nothing of that happened though, right? Since Al Gore said that, it has gone up what he said, and we were supposed to be flooded.
Okay, I don't.
I mean, Miami is flooded all the time.
He's missing my point
Did you see
again
Las Vegas?
because he makes everything
yeah,
political.
the flash flood.
Well, this was actually a story for the Post, Joe, but that's the show we do after this podcast on the Patreon exclusively. Burning Man, they're trapped.
Because of flash floods.
Just flash rain.
Yeah.
And so it's all mud. And it's
That's
become
hilarious.
impossible for anyone to move, get in or out.
It's going to be like Mad Max out there in the desert.
It is like Mad Max, but
Welcome
you
to
had
the
the option to
Thunderdome.
drive away.
But it's all like rich kids.
Yeah. It's like Coachella in hell.
So we're doomed because
Coachella.
the economy is connected to the
that's
military.
already Coachella.
We got there.
The economy is connected to the military. Then they talked about where does the money come from to say arm Ukraine, which we always say, well, when you could just fix Philadelphia or Chicago or whatever you want. Like there's places that need massive.
Everywhere, dude. Listen, society is falling apart before our eyes.
He's going to do also a documentary on a defense contractor.
And if you're like $1 trillion in debt, which both our countries are, both America and us, how do you then justify just fucking shipping off shit tons of money?
Well, the real question is like, at this point, do we have a plan to ever pay that back? Like, how is our country going to generate?
They're never, you can't pay it back. It's impossible.
Well, the interest alone, I assume, is
Listen, I imagine, Matt, that this is how
okay, said that,
civilizations collapse. Everybody's doing fine. Like you said, you don't realize you're in the worst financial time ever. And then the debt becomes too massive and everything just falls apart.
and moves on to the next iteration.
oh yeah.
No, then
listeners-
it's just Lord of the fucking Flies.
For listeners, I was telling the guys that I read some stats this week that say that we're actually living through a worse Great Depression than the Great Depression. We just don't know it because the media isn't saying so.
But also during the Great Depression, weren't people like having to eat only potatoes?
That's
and
what you're
shit?
told.
Oh,
Who
sorry.
knows? Who
Sorry.
really knows what
They were
happened?
actually eating filet mignon.
No, but again, Simon, if you knew that like the next 10 years you weren't going to be able to afford anything, that you weren't going to be able to afford mortgage payments, or you might start eating just
All
potatoes
the
or
filet
right.
mignon right now.
No, but you know what I mean? You might start buckling down heavily if the news was telling you, hey, listen, the worst is not yet hit yet. Like you're going to be fucked.
Oh, I see. And nobody's eating potatoes because we don't even know we're in the
Precisely,
midst of-
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
What I
Okay.
love is that the,
Okay, I'm with you there.
I mean, listen, a home in Canada, the average home in Ottawa is like $1.1 million.
It's true,
Like,
and nobody bats an eye at that. They're just like, "Oh yeah, that's the cost of inflation." What the fuck
but
does that even mean?
it's been the Liberal government for the 8 years, so I say it's on them,
Dude,
Like they can't
I
blame
agree.
anything
Have
on
you-
themselves.
There is a classic clip that even all Americans should watch, where they're showing our where we do our politics, and
Parliament.
It's the leader of the opposition party asking, I guess, like the Minister of Finance, how much it costs for the average Canadian to buy a new home in Canada
won't
today.
answer, yeah.
And he will
He
not
won't answer.
fucking give
First
the
time
number.
you've ever referenced Canadian politics.
Because this is like so. Anyways, it's funny. Everybody
Yeah,
should
the
watch
refusal
it.
to answer the question is wild.
Answers like and you know how you're just like, don't we have a Speaker of the House? Shouldn't he like step in and be like, "Yo, he's asking you to give a number. Like you're holding shit up."
He should do
But
that.
instead, his only job is to make sure that nobody calls like the other guy an asshole or something.
Yeah.
Like this whole fucking thing is a joke.
Have you seen Deepwater Horizon?
Deepwater Horizon? Well, no.
The Mark
Hold on.
Wahlberg movie where he's on, is that the one?
Is it called Deepwater Horizon? Because I have never heard of that movie in my life.
I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
where
it's-
Mark
it's a oil
Wahlberg is
rig
out on an
blows
oil
up.
rig and it blows up.
And the name of it is Deepwater.
That was the name of the oil platform, Deepwater
Okay, no,
Horizon.
I have not seen that, Kamar.
Have you seen Lone Survivor?
I have not
We've
seen it.
definitely done that because the Lone Survivor
one is
guy
Lone
was
Survivor?
on.
Lone Survivor is Marky Mark.
We have
and he gets strapped
100%
behind the line.
done that
It was
movie.
based off of
He was
Strappo,
on. The Lone
Restrepo.
Survivor guy was on. If he didn't have done that for then this game doesn't make sense.
Have you guys seen? Have you guys
Right? Like, am I right?
Have
Yeah.
you guys seen Smoking Aces?
Yeah, with,
A long time ago. I
that's
don't
a
even
deep cut.
remember it.
okay, let's do it. Fuck it.
Smoking Aces? Yeah, remind me what the movie was.
It's got Jeremy Piven. It's,
Oh no, Very Bad Things.
I haven't seen very
That's
bad.
a wicked
Very
movie,
Bad
but
Things.
no, we're gonna do. Yeah, we're gonna.
I don't like
Very
any
Bad
of
Things
these
is an
options.
amazing movie.
Smoking Aces, Jeremy Piven.
These are all movies he's been an actor in. Have you seen Collateral?
Collateral. There you go. I've seen Collateral.
Collateral. Who's in that?
Tom Cruise,
Tom Cruise
Jamie
and Jamie
Foxx.
Foxx. Great. That's not his.
He's in it.
Oh,
These are what he's in.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again for Matt and Simon to
Matt and Simon go head to head, figure out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing Collateral, a neo-noir action thriller film starring
Is that what
Tom
it says? A
Cruise,
neo-noir action.
Jamie Foxx, Jada Pinkett on nothing but trouble there, Mark Ruffalo, Peter Berg, and Bruce McGill.
Oh, yeah, Mark Ruffalo was the cop. Who else was in it, did you say?
Jamie Foxx.
No, I know
Was
Jamie
the
Foxx and- yeah,
driver.
yeah, I know.
Jada
He was-
Pinkett Smith. Can't
Where she
remember
was
who
the lawyer.
She was a lawyer, or she was his love interest. No, he had no love interest.
Yes. Remember, she gets in the cab at the beginning, and he drives her a place, and he's all hot on her. And then later on, Tom Cruise. I don't want to ruin it for the.
I'm ready.
folks. I'm ready too. What year do you have, Simon?
I said 2002.
Oh, we're very close. I said 2001.
I wanted to say 2000.
Okay, we should have said 2004.
Oh,
Wow.
But I think that's really close.
okay. Thanks. Come
Are
on.
you ready with the rest?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, I said it cost 30.8, and it made 210.4.
Ooh, I said it cost 39 and it made 142.
Well, it costs a little bit more than that with a price of $65 million.
Whoa.
Tommy Cruise on set. We're spending money.
Swear to
Go
God, somebody
fuck
is
yourself.
stealing from me.
But Matt, you're really close with the box office. Box office was $220.9
Nice.
million.
Oh,
Wow, nice.
hey, there we go. Only 10 million off. Well, still not even close to a win, but whatever.
But a great movie that we got to bring up and you didn't know.
Collateral
Peter
is.
was in.
I'm glad you brought it up. That is a very slept on film. I watched it recently. That
Great
movie is
movie.
fucking incredible.
Yeah,
Really
great
good.
movie.
Tom Cruise might be one of his best,
It might be
Performances
his
and
best
roles.
performance.
honest to God.
Yeah.
Because it's so out of his wheelhouse to be like not a good dude. A fucking great movie. That's a fucking great movie.
Great fucking
Great movie.
You know what fucking movie I just fucking saw? It's fucking amazing. F9.
F9.
What's that?
Fast and the Furious.
Oh, F9. Yes.
Never seen
yes.
it.
Oh, you haven't, but you've seen them.
Yeah,
I've never seen a single
some
one.
of them.
No, but
I've never seen one.
say the first three
Okay.
were like driving, sort of possible stuff. It is now gone.
Oh yeah, like we're
so-
driving off a bridge onto a moving
Onto
plane.
a spaceship that's flying to Mars. That's how crazy it's
Well,
gotten.
plot spoiler. Plug your ears if you don't want to hear this. At one point, Ludacris and
Vin Diesel.
Diesel.
no, not Vin
The
Diesel.
Rock.
No, the other guy. who's-
Terrell
Yeah,
Owens, or whatever his name
we
is.
sound horrible saying
Tyrese.
Tyrese and him are in a Fiero that is equipped with a rocket that is in space.
I've told you my Tyrese story.
And I'm here for it, man.
That's fucking incredible. I'm here for it.
Hey, I told you my Tyrese story.
Let's hear it.
I saw him in a in a elevator in New York,
Okay.
but I thought he was a football player. I can't like
Terrell Owens. Yeah.
because I find they look the same. And I said,
Do you hear what he said there?
He's a football player.
No, I find they look the same. I'm gonna.
Yeah, oh no, yeah,
I'm clipping
I'm
that.
trying to get out of here.
and I said, hey man, what are you doing here? And he's like, because I was like, your team's not playing this team this weekend, you know? And he's like, oh, I'm here for a movie. I'm doing whatever. I was like, oh, okay.
You're hilarious.
Anyways,
Oh my God.
F9, watch it, and you're just like, we accept this. We accept this. Like, sure, whatever you say.
It's called suspension of
Well,
disbelief.
no, but
Kumar.
there's at one point a villain is using a super magnet to knock out all the instruments,
Okay.
and then he uses it for what he needs it for. They find out that, well, they have to thwart the super magnet at one point, and then for the rest of the movie, they incorporate the super magnet into everything they do, as if they knew they were going to get. And you can just, oh man,
We'll watch it.
and
No, I won't.
Every scene you watch it, you're like, oh, they're going to use the magnet. And then they do it. And you feel like you could make one of these movies. But good on Vin Diesel. That's the movie game. But Peter Berg, yeah, he's also in Entourage. He's just been everywhere.
Well, everyone was in
The
Entourage.
Sword of Doom and Gloom. I give it a 2.5. Without Dope
No, I
Sick,
give it a 3.
Without Dope Sick, there's a whole new thing. If this is the uncovering, like the moment.
Yeah, he did. This has been out. Like,
Agreed.
I do. Listen.
This guy,
Just hear me out. If you're a filmmaker, Netflix comes to you and says, "We'd like to do this project on the Sacklers." You take the money, you
Yeah.
do the project, right?
Yeah.
We're not shitting on Peter Berg.
No.
I'm with you. Netflix. Why would you greenlight a project that's already been done by?
and I just find like he was like making it seem.
Yeah,
like
he's
he
breaking
was
news.
breaking
Yeah.
new ground. Like he was exposing the Sacklers. They've already made this show.
Yeah, I agree.
It had your fucking counterpart in it. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
I give it a 2.5. I like Peter Berg. Seemed like a nice guy.
I'll give it a 2.
That's fine.
I'll give it a 2.5.
All right, moving on.
You gave it a 3. He gave it a 2.5.
I gave it a 2.5. I just said 2.5.
You gave it a 2? Well, you had already rated it
When?
like 3 seconds ago.
Oh, well, then I change it to a
Okay,
2.5.
well, there you go. Well, then you can hit the agreement button.
2.5.
We have an agreement.
229.
Get your fucking
Oh my
feet
God,
off
your
my
feet are
table.
disgusting.
Bill Maher.
Get him off.
I mean, what are we doing here?
I hate you.
That I mean,
I had to demonstrate just how bad that is.
Listen.
he's been on twice before.
Yeah.
Both times we've razzed him for putting his feet up. The very first thing he does is put his feet up. Fucking piece of shit.
Okay, rate
Does
it.
he do that on his own show? Imagine he didn't. He only does it when he comes to Joe's.
He's trying to do such a power move.
And such a power move, as he like blows smoke up Joe's ass. Oh, well, the king asked me to come. I have to come.
His show is for highly intelligent people.
Are you
Do you
being
remember putting your feet up
sarcastic?
on Joe's fucking table? No, I don't remember
No,
putting
no.
my feet up on Joe's table.
These are his words. He apologized for how
Joe's table. He's rich. He
The
can buy
level-
another
Buy
table.
another table.
he apologized for the level of intelligence people have to watch his show and enjoy it. And like, he's living in a world of his own.
Hold
He's a
on,
pompous
hold on.
prick.
Let's get right down to brass tacks
Sure,
here, okay? I'm
sure.
wearing my glasses. I got my hood up.
Yeah.
We know Kamar might get angry and clench his fists, but we're gonna say it anyways. This guy's your type of guy right until the point,
At what point?
Well, right before the Trump stuff.
right before the Trump stuff. Everything he was saying are your views.
I know, but
To be fair, up until the 50th minute, you and him are perfectly aligned. You guys could be riding a unicycle.
And not only that,
Not a
it's-
unicycle, a
it's
tandem
like,
bike.
It's like all of those things make perfect sense, but then this one thing.
no, it's like when you guys ask me why I watch CNN. I wanted Joe to ask him, Bill, how is this affecting your life? Because it isn't, right? Bill Maher is doing fine.
Yeah.
And it's this thing of millionaires complaining.
No, but hold
Like,
on. But,
Ray
No, no, no,
Wilson.
no,
but wait,
no,
wait.
no,
You could
no.
accuse Joe of the same thing. Joe's very fit. He doesn't have to go out and tell people to get fit, right? He could just be fit and live fit. But you have no problem with Joe
No, but-
telling the world, go and work out.
Bill has a thing to think he's right. Like when he's talking about obesity and stuff, like I like skinnier girls. Who the fuck cares what you like?
Who cares? But I mean, Joe
So
says
I
shit
don't
like
agree
that.
at all like that. Like it sounded the same as Jordan Peterson saying not sexy. Like, why are you weighing in on this?
I mean, I agree with that. I get what you're saying. Listen, I'm with you. Where he was like, yeah, we used to call them chubby chasers. Like, yeah, people are into different things than you, Bill.
But this guy used to spend a lot of time at the Playboy Mansion. Like he's a douchebag.
Okay,
and
But Donald Trump used to spend a lot of time there.
Sure. Well, it takes a douche to know douche. I don't think Donald
my
was. Bill Maher was a mainstay.
Okay.
I don't know how much. Anyways, all those people back then all have blood on their sleeves.
all
Listen,
I
I
was
don't like Bill Maher. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead. Come on. Go ahead,
I
Sam.
was gonna agree. All I was saying, Kamar, I think I don't like Bill Maher at all. I just find it interesting.
I don't like him
when
at all
somebody
either.
agrees with all the talking points of a like Trump follower, except for the Trump part.
But because you can't handle people.
the truth.
You can't handle people liking someone who disagrees with everything. Like it's the exact same thing. Like you could have someone that disagrees with everything, but you can still like them.
I think what Kamar's saying is
I
Kamar
don't
doesn't.
like. I
what
don't
Kamar's
like
saying
him.
is
Like people don't like Trump.
what Kamar's saying is he doesn't care how much they align on. He doesn't like Bill Maher.
Oh no, that's
Just like I could say you align on stuff with all this is Trump, but it's him being a douchebag at the end of the day.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree with you. Yeah, that's how I feel.
I wish I liked him.
Do you? I'm glad I don't like him. Bill Maher
no,
is
for your guys'
Bill
reason,
Maher
but
is
he's insufferable.
He's insufferable. That's
Insufferable.
exact the same word I was going to
agree.
use.
I hate him.
He
but
was
I-
sufferable when he did Religious. Well, I was way more of an atheist in my life, and I thought that was like.
But even then, that was the
Gorilla,
director that did it.
it
It
was-
was the guy from fucking Seinfeld, the guy with the long hair. What's
But
his
I
fucking
thought it was
name?
Bill
I
Maher.
also think, in all fairness,
Bill Maher?
that
Forget
if Bill Maher was a Trump fan, you would probably be a Bill Maher fan.
I don't think so, but sure. He was talking.
Simon, who's the other Larry from fucking Seinfeld?
Larry David,
No, the other one. Behind the scenes guy.
behind the scenes guy.
Yeah. Forget it.
Jerry Seinfeld.
I hate you.
He was talking about.
I don't know who
he
you're
was talking
talking
about.
Another Larry?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
It was funny how he was talking about Chicago and like where the people like. Obama came from Chicago.
Larry Charles.
Larry Charles, that's the one. Like Obama, like that's a legacy of a democratic city, and we all agree Chicago's bad.
It's the worst.
It's really bad. I mean, it's good for rap, but really bad.
I see. You're saying that happened under Obama's watch?
The
He's saying
mayor
under
was
a
his,
Democratic, under the Democratic watch, it has become
it's
a
the same
very
thing with
unlivable
here.
city.
The Democrats have been in power a lot longer in the last 16 years than anyone else, so they're responsible. If they made it worse, I guess they can make it better. Is the thinking?
The problem is when you do
Again,
that, hold on, wait, just the problem when we do that is like we act like 9/11, which was 20 years ago, didn't have a massive effect on how we do things, and it did.
Well, and gave Republicans because they were in power
But what I'm saying is the amount of money that was moved around and that we started spending, like, dude, if you think military spending didn't go up tenfold after 9/11, it did. And I think a lot of that, which is pre the Democrats, I just think that plays into a lot. Listen,
But if
I don't wanna
9/11
point-
hadn't happened,
hold on.
Gore might have become president or whoever.
I don't want to point fingers either way because I don't think it's a Democrat or Republican thing. It truly feels like it's by design that they're just trying to milk.
Well, they're doing a really bad job because the charade should be better held that people feel better about society because everyone's complaining about it and no one has answers. Just with if body positivity, that made me the most uncomfortable about him. Like, you're the type of guys get laid by hot girls because you have money, not because anything else. Like, you're good. But if ask someone if they think Lizzo's beautiful, and if they say yeah, say you look like Lizzo.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I saw that meme this week. Yeah.
But we're looking for, of course, a colorblind society.
It was so funny though when Bill Maher was like, "Yeah, my age was Twiggy. You know, if we saw a fat girl, we were like, fuck that." I'm like, nobody would be interested in you if you weren't fucking famous.
Yeah.
So you just
You're
act
the
like-
ugliest dork ever, with a terrible personality.
Let me tell you something, sweetheart.
No, I do not. Like
Yeah, well, he pulled the. They want a Swedish social net on an Arizona tax base, like Dennis Miller over here.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand it.
Joe didn't laugh at it because he got it. Because I tried to look it up and I still don't know what it means, but I guess they have low taxes. But he just laughed out of the delivery of it. Joe has serious security at his club because 6th Street is wild.
Yeah, 6th Street is nuts.
And the overarching thing is gender, sexism. It's all negated by the poverty and wealth disparity. That's just really the bottom biggest problem in the world right now, which Joe brought up. Consumerism contributes to obesity. It was weird when he told the story about the sleeping pill.
It was okay. Hold
It
on.
was a Z.
Hold
I
on
just
a
found it in
second.
my room.
I'm pretty sure it was Zoloft. He's talking.
Zoloft
about, right?
was what it was, but he thought it was Z for
Yeah.
sleep.
But I'm pretty sure I'm not a doctor. Zoloft, I believe, is one of those pills you have to take for like 3 weeks before you feel anything. You're building up like the
I got
supply.
you,
of
yeah.
it.
So
that
It
first
is
time
not an
is-
instant. He is full of shit. First of all, he probably took a Valium or something.
But he's right
you
about
know
Trump.
what I mean?
Keep going. No, you didn't hear what I just said. Oh, I said that out loud.
I heard.
Anyways,
Listen here.
That story did not hold water.
Let
with
me extend an olive branch to Kamar. It was pretty gross the way he was like really hammering the word criminal when talking about Trump, like really hammering it. And then when he brought up Hunter Biden, he was like, there's probably some stuff there that's less than good. You're like, well, hold on a sec.
Yeah.
If you're gonna say the word criminal the way you are, because let's be serious, like the word criminal gets thrown around. Like if I told you like, I got a DUI. Sorry, Kamar, I should have used something else. You're probably not gonna be like, you're a criminal. If I told you I held up a bank, you'd be like, yeah, you're a criminal. You know what I mean? There's certain levels to like, I don't know. Bill Maher is very disconnected.
Totally disconnected. I feel like he hates Trump for the wrong reasons.
Did you not feel it was just so emotional?
Yeah,
Not
and the way he
logical?
was talking to Joe too, like it was really rude. I don't know. You guys should listen back to it. It was like
I don't have to. First of all, if you're talking to someone with your feet up on their fucking desk,
no, but for a second there, I actually thought Joe was going to get insulted because of the way he was talking. It was really rude.
No, he's just a scare sad man. Like I said, he's doing fine. He is doing fine with all this. His podcast is awful. Well, he's awful. When Joe brought up Bridget Fonda, he was like, she really let herself go. I could hear it, and he's just a dog.
A
She
piece
was
of
so
shit, yeah.
fucking hot and was his type.
Bridget
unfortunately.
Fonda, what movie was she in?
Jackie Brown,
all the exercise tapes my
Jackie
mom
Brown,
had as a
yeah,
kid.
Single white
single
female.
fight female.
Whoa, try
Single
that
white
again.
female.
Do you agree with Bill that the studios are creating or reflecting what the audience wants, or they're making what they think?
No, and
Doesn't
we
seem like
know
it is.
that's not true because of what Matt Damon said, that you'll never get a good movie made again because the only thing that will get through is dog shit by the mega studios that they know sell to the lowest common denominator.
So he was
Well, but
wrong.
hold on. Wait. I would say that
We disagree with them.
I don't totally. Give me a sec. Like Netflix is a good example where like you are a demographic. You fall into a lot of Venn diagrams. There's a lot of stuff you watch and a lot of stuff you don't watch. That's how TV always was. There's no difference there. You had home and garden television in your package. You didn't watch it, but it was there.
No, we're talking about movies.
I'm talking about when you say the studios, though, they make television as well. And
Well, yeah,
Netflix
I
is,
know, but that's
Netflix is a studio.
We're talking about like movies and movie theaters.
Yeah, but movies get made for Netflix now too, so it's a different ball game, right?
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying is like,
Sidebar, you're not noticing it yet, are you?
no, you will soon. It's not.
I don't
you wouldn't
think
notice
you will
it yet
because of
What?
YouTube and stuff. There's so much entertainment out
Noticing what?
that the writers are on strike. What he's
nothing-
saying.
no
Oh,
shows
no
or anything's
new
being
shows
made right
have
now.
come out. Because they all just have so many
There's
shows.
there's so much out there.
This
There's so
shit
much
is
to do.
lined up for like
I-
a year
I
in
would-
advance.
I'm telling you, if they stay on strike for a year, come December, you'll
You'll
notice.
notice,
Yeah,
yeah.
We'll see.
100%.
We'll
No,
see.
because right now they're airing things
Yeah,
that,
that
were
were already in the
already
bag. Yeah,
lined
banked
up.
up.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
It'll be in the new year.
That's what I
That's
said.
when
Come
you'll see
December.
Or
Yeah.
it's that thing where things slide in and take over.
But maybe they'll just bring scabs in and they'll prove that all the jobs were redundant anyways. They'll make all the shows with like CGI and whatever, and we'll love them, you know? Maybe we'll find out that that's how all Mr. Beast videos are made, and we'll just be like, oh, well, yeah, we've been watching that all along.
Dude, Harlan Williams on his podcast this week, he's like, so I'm on strike. I'm striking with my brothers. I'm solidarity. I'm not writing anything. Don't want to be a scab. He's like, but I went down to the picket line. This guy's got a sign. And on the sign is written, I can't remember what he said was written on it. And I looked at him and I said, hey, great sign. Did you write it? And the guy goes, yeah. And I said, scab, get off the line, scab.
Yeah, hold the line.
Did you write it?
Do you guys remember Rock Hudson? I don't remember Rock Hudson.
No,
but
we're not
Too
that
young.
old.
when
We're
I was a
nuts.
kid, there was a Rock Hudson joke and said, why did they bury Rock Hudson with his ass underground?
Because his dick was so big?
No, so friends could drop by and have a cold one. Or use it as a bicycle rack. But I heard these kids, but I did not know what it was, you know, but it was homophobia, I guess.
See, I didn't know who Rock Hudson was, and then Hudson Hawk came out, and that just confused me even more.
Because he was
As a
before his
kid,
time.
I'm saying.
Yeah. yeah, of course.
Well, dude, I watched Sammy Davis Jr. on the Tonight Show the other night, and he's just like feeling himself, and they're doing impressions of Humphrey Bogart, and the crowd is just losing themselves, and he goes, "Can I do a number?" And it's really, if you could imagine the equivalent, it'd be Chris Brown or some artist get like it was so like, what were they doing back then?
Dude,
Anyways,
I saw that clip.
I digress.
I saw that clip yesterday of Don Rickles on the Tonight Show.
The best.
Have you seen it, Simon? With Sinatra, and Sinatra's like, I have a story about Don here. He's like, One night, Dawn comes up to me. I'm having dinner, and Dawn comes up to me and says, "Hey, Frank, I hate to bother you, but I'm sitting having dinner with this lady. I'm on a date. Would you mind coming up and saying hi to us if you get a sec?" And so I say, "Sure, Dawn, not a problem." So I finish up my meal, and I go over to the table, and I say, "Hey, Dawn, how's your night going?" And Dawn looks at me and he goes, "God damn it, Frank, can't you see I'm in the middle of a meal?"
The best.
That's amazing.
The best. That's how you get out of a tab. They made fun of Two Spirit.
Idiot.
No, I love it. I love the
They
callback.
made fun of Two Spirit. I know a comic who's Two Spirit. Just them talking about gay stuff is just ridiculous. If you can't make fun of something, it is bullshit, though. That is true. It just doesn't hold water. Maybe another way to say that. And he said like trans and gay have to be opposed. I've always said lesbians and gays are opposed too. Like the whole grouping them together is a fallacy. Age of consent is what it comes down to. Like, let's just say, once you can get a tattoo, you can get your dick cut off or whatever.
That sounded so much like something a pedophile would say.
It all comes down to age. He just
Age of consent all comes down
it's
to
true.
what it comes down to.
Whatever he was saying.
Whatever
there,
age it comes down to.
Whatever he was
Context
saying there, he
doesn't
tailed
matter.
off to. You know, it all just comes down to age of consent.
He made it to the point how it's not cool to be straight right now, but teenagers rebel.
Yeah.
And it feels like there'll be a generation of all these progressive people and their kids will become super straight if what Bill Maher contends is true about
It's fun.
generations.
It's fun to think that in 30 years there'll be two gay guys like in bed with each other at night watching straight porn. Like, fuck, I wish like closeted straight.
I wonder
guys.
how many generations it takes, though. You know what I'm saying?
If it's even true, who knows?
Listen, maybe this is just the beginning of us becoming the grays, the genderless people that just
and there's that,
we
and
just
then we
lay
should be
egg
excited.
sacks and no one gets sex was just a useless thing we did to pass around fucking.
Bill Maher did do things that I don't like Biden.
What
I mean,
does
I
that
know
mean?
you hate him. I don't hate him.
Are you talking to me?
No, he was talking to Joe. He
Oh,
goes,
yeah. I
I
know
don't,
you
I don't
hate
like
him.
Biden, but I know you hate him. I don't hate him. Sure,
No,
throwing him under the bus.
you love him because he's not Trump. That's the problem.
And when it came down to him pleading his case against Trump, had he come at it with more of a Dave Smith precision,
Yep.
it could have really done something for me. But he was a bumbling like, see there. It just
No, he came off like Jim Gaffigan.
or he didn't have enough time to be panicked like him, so it all happened.
I just sorry, go ahead.
Just have you ever tried to think critically of it? Joe says, have you ever tried to steel man it? Just out of an exercise, make it good. Fuck that. And that right there was out. Like he's not a critical thinker or not able to do it because he's
Well, again, it's also weird to be like, I hate Trump. Well, in one breath, be like the military-industrial complex, but then on the next breath, be like, I fucking hated Trump. He was terrible for the country. It's like, okay, but you at least have to give the guy that he didn't start any fresh wars.
No, I think you can steel man Trump easily, and it all just comes down to the end point, which is his ideas aren't necessarily terrible, but he is a terrible representative for the country of the USA.
There was one good thing he said. I can't remember the term he used. It's like a psychological term. He said it's like a something narcissist, a what was the term? Either way, Bill Maher said he's like he's like a megalo narcissist, and that is true.
He was describing Trump and
But Kamar-
himself in one breath.
But Kamar, I wouldn't want Bill Maher running the country either. So it's a fair. You can say that about him. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And Kamar, before you get your fists in all clenched up, like I hate Hillary Clinton.
Good.
I also don't like Trump.
Good.
It doesn't have to be one or the other.
I don't try to make you like Trump.
No, I know. Okay.
He said, and Trump was quoted as saying, I don't want them to know I lost. And that's not true.
Is it not true?
It's not true.
What was he quoted as saying?
No, it's the woman doing the testimony at the Jan 6 committee, and she kept saying something to effect. It was all hearsay. She's saying,
Oh, it's hearsay. Okay, so there was no quote. They don't have a direct quote for Trump.
She said he said something to
yeah,
effect.
that's hearsay. Yeah,
I don't
I
want
get it.
people
Yeah.
to know I lost, so it's right out the window. Him dying on that hill makes him look stupid. I wonder what like day-to-day life in Russia is right now. And we don't know, and they're as just victims to their government and the propaganda is. But like, are teenagers going at bars and like living life like we
First
are?
of all, hold on. Russia is a fucking huge
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
So I'm sure if you're
Moscow.
I'm sure if you're on the east end of Russia, you haven't noticed a fucking
Yeah,
not a lick of difference.
I don't
It's like what you'd feel about the trucker convoy in Ottawa if you're in Toronto or Montreal.
No, Vancouver.
I don't think that the war is taking place anywhere near Russia. So why would life be any different for them there? It's different for the Ukrainians because it's going on their doorstep.
Because we're so siloed, I just would love to know what life in Russia is like. Like if we were
should
so
go
much
over there.
more open. My stepfather went there.
I bet you anything. It's exactly the same.
People are complaining
except
about housing.
McDonald's is called something different,
Because
and
the
all the American
concessions.
companies are called something different. But they've all been replaced by some other thing that wants to
But
make
they're not
money.
complaining about gender stuff like that. All those things are still suppressed. Maybe
I mean,
those are
who
coming.
who knows? We don't even know if that was
Are
ever
they
even
complaining
a
about
problem.
housing
there.
prices or alcohol prices?
It couldn't have
or-
been because they were killing like Pussy Riot. So as if they were putting up with trans people.
I wonder.
They don't even put up with gay people.
He tries to throw shade at Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is so much bigger than Bill Maher right now. He's got an inferiority complex because he's been around so long. He thinks he should be. He does have more followers on Twitter than Tucker, but Tucker's everything
How
he
is that
does is like
possible?
200 million.
Yeah, how is that possible?
How does he have 10.8 million followers and Tucker has 10?
Yeah.
I'm surprised Tucker doesn't have like.
Well, I'm curious as to how Tucker's videos. I mean, again, I guess it goes back to the outrage of one side also watching, but I just don't understand how you have 10 million followers, but you're getting 200 million views. That's very difficult to do.
There are
Maybe it's
more
bots.
left people than right people watching.
Well, that's what I said. There's a lot of people outrage watching, I'm sure.
Outrage
which
watching
is,
for
of
sure.
course, but
But then there's outrage watching on the other side too, right? Like you don't.
I don't think
there are-
anyone outrage watches Bill Maher.
He sounded dumb. When
I
he
think
talked
you're
about-
wrong. Like some Fox News person is watching Bill Maher so they can get angry at the things he says.
No,
the
maybe-
same way he watches
Maybe real
CNN
time.
to get angry at the things they say. Don't get angry.
Maybe
At
real.
me.
They might watch Real Time with Bill Maher, but as far as his podcast, or
Anyways, I just meant him.
sure,
Listen
sure.
to him. Watch clips of him. Whatever.
He talked about reading George Will would just make me relax and love being a liberal because it made me think, but clearly doesn't think because when Joe asked him to
No,
do
he
a
does-
simple
he-
exercise. When Joe tried to say that Rachel Maddow lied about, he just threw it out like they all lied. Next, like that's where it's gone. Everyone lied about its effectiveness and what it would do. So what?
There was a weird disconnect there with Joe though, where he was like, "Yeah, Rachel Maddow lied," and Bill Maher was like, "Well, so did Joe Biden." And Joe seemed it was more egregious for Rachel Maddow. Where I agree, it's more egregious for the president to lie about it than Rachel
But they
Maddow.
both agreed Rachel Maddow's smart. I'd like to ask you those three questions. The ivermectin, the ivermectin was interesting that he acknowledged that, but
Yeah.
too little, too late.
I mean, if that really is true, that they stopped the ivermectin to make sure that they could get the clearance to put the other drug through, then it's like 100% evidence that the government is in collusion with the pharmaceutical companies, right? Like
Listen,
100%.
If we found out in 10 years, if someone could prove, I mean, tomorrow, if someone could prove definitively, and I'm sure someone in the comments would be like, they did, you're a piece of shit. If they could prove definitively that ivermectin worked better, well, I mean, we know that the jab didn't work at all, so I guess it probably is proved.
Well, I think it did work better because not only did it fix people who had it, but it acts as like a contraceptive or whatever the fuck that word is to make sure that it saves you from getting it. Like,
Yeah, so there you
it
go.
sounds like a win-win, all for $1 a jab.
What if
It cost our government how many billions of dollars?
Well, we also let 30 million
Well,
go
I mean, that's
bad.
just because we're fucking useless.
and what if it's true what they said about it being still Anthony Fauci when they were giving AZT? And he was using basically as an experiment thing because he was just killing gay people. At the time, they had it way worse off than they do now. And like, it's the same person being at the scene of the crime.
yeah.
Mismanagement of these things.
Again, we talked about this last week. But to Joe's point, if Robert Kennedy is lying about any of the things he said about Anthony Fauci, why is he not being sued?
I just saw Fauci, unfortunately, on CNN this morning or the other day, and the reporter who, Smirkonish,
No.
It doesn't matter.
That is a made-up name for sure. Smirkonish? Get the fuck out of here.
He is who he is.
Sounds like somebody made fun of his name.
He
His
was
name
the
was
one.
like Smirkoni.
He was the one I think who challenged Roger Waters, which maybe had gotten Joe. Anyways, he showed Fauci the study that said the masks don't work.
Okay.
And Fauci said, of the big population, yes, this may hold true, but for the individual, it still provides a level of protection.
I mean, that probably is true.
But it doesn't actually work.
No, it doesn't work like to stop the spread of the virus.
That's his,
if you're a compromised individual,
absolutely,
it may help you. I don't know.
And before COVID, that would hold true.
Well, they wear them in Japan for the smog. So.
The problem is the whole wording. Everything you just said, we just shat on the Sacklers for and said they should go to jail. You're going to shut down the economy and force people to lose their jobs over something that may work? That seems a bit aggressive.
And that's not what they told us. They told us it will 100% work. And not only that, you will not be able to get it or transmit it to anybody else.
So it's okay.
If they had told us differently at the time, you would see a lot of people would have made different decisions.
This was just ridiculous. I don't know if it's a setup. I don't know what was going on, but
I feel like it was a setup.
You said I would hate it. If it had been 3 hours, I would have hated it.
This should have been 45 seconds.
Well, it was on 3.5.
He should have put his fucking feet on the table, and it should have immediately been, you know what? I'm not doing this.
If
Enjoy your
this
fucking
had been
show.
3 hours, I swear to you, it would have ended in a fist fight.
It's just $1 million.
There's no way these two could have cohabitated space. These two alpha friggin' male wannabes.
And it was interesting. So Fox is just about as all of them. He was like,
I think Joe's an alpha male wannabe.
No, but you know what I mean.
And
They
I
both want to be
believe-
the alpha
I
male. I didn't know
believe-
how to say it.
MSNBC may not be that truthful. I'm willing to say they might be
So
full
the
of
third
shit.
option is also full
Really?
of
The
shit.
one owned by Bill
No,
Gates?
But the
Come
biggest
on.
example I thought in my head running over is you showing those clips of them like Rand Paul's in second place and like, well, there's a leader at number 5.
Yeah, number 2. Number 3 and 4 are really in there.
Really lying in front of your face. And the problem with all those newscasters are all millionaires. And they think they are more important than the news. And Bill thinks he's more important than news.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good journalist getting rich.
And I think that's the one thing of Joe's success is that he doesn't think he's bigger. Like he doesn't think he's bigger than the UFC. I don't even think he's bigger than podcasting. Like
But he should. What's his name? Who's this guy's name? Bill Maher.
Maher.
He
Bill
should be one of
Maher.
those voices of reason for the world.
he is.
No, he's not, because his ideas are limited by his hate. He should be more like
But like you said, a lot of them are reasonable.
It's
more
also-
like our friend there.
He has nothing to be
Comedian.
upset about or mad about. Bill Maher, it's amazing he can complain.
It's just dawned on me, too. Like, how old is Bill Maher? 60, 67, 65?
It must be like 66.
It's just interesting hearing him, like, one of them's 77 and one of them's 80. Like, they're, it's like, dude, you're right there, pal.
I'm still
You're-
bagging 17-year-olds.
Yeah, you're right there,
he
brother.
also
Because the age of consent is all that matters,
he also
right?
he's only 67, but he
Only?
he
Holy
also
fuck, he's 10 years
used-
younger than Biden.
He also used Rivik's line about these progressives are sounding like the KKK.
Well, that's been a line I've heard for a long time before both of them.
No, but it got brought to prominence because CNN tried to pin it on Rivik, and it was out of context. I give this a 1. Like he's a douche, and
Oh, yeah, 1, big time.
Had he not put his feet on the table, we could have done something here.
Hit it.
We have an agreement. All right, that is an episode. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Maybe, just maybe, you're willing to go a step further. We have a Patreon. It's September Sweeps.
Sweeps.
Get
Also-
swept away.
No, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, join the Patreon. There's a lot of extra content up there. You'll get the post show every week. It's the show after the show where we shoot the shit. And you'll get old episodes of all the extra stuff we do. Yes, back in time indeed. That's it. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring the show. There will be a link in the description. Be sure to go and check them out. Other than that, we hope you have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
I can't decide whether to say go fuck yourself or keep your eyes open.
it's not even, it's fuck you.
Oh yeah, fuck you.